like CNN and MSNBC are fake news.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Do you ever have one of those moments where you think, how the hell did I get here? Jeez, what happened to me? I was ruling the galaxy, had a cherry new battle station. I mean, this place had an omelet bar, a straight-up omelet bar. And now look, my former interns tossing me down a bottomless freaking pit. You know, come to think of it, my whole life has been a series of what the moments. That was my out.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I looked my woman in the eye sockets. I told her straight out. I just said it, man. I said it. I said, bitch, I'm the man of the house.
You said bitch, though. You called your wife a bitch.
Yeah.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, Private Smedlap, what do you think about this? You have to go to the White House to find out about that.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
Yeah. Woo! Welcome to the Monday edition, Space Force! Broadcasting live from the Functional Veteran Space Station of Excellence. This is Ice, and joining me is Flash with Ma. This 18th
Space
June.
Force!
Space Force! Space
I won't lie,
Force!
for the last hour, I've been coming up with theme songs for Space Force.
No.
To me, in my head, it sounds like the early 90s cartoon where it's something like G.I. Joe. Space Force!
That's right. He's like, dum,
Space
dum, dum.
Force!
And knowing is half the battle.
The space battle.
The space battle. So, broadcasting live for the Functional Veteran Center of Excellence on this 18 June 2018.
Space Force of Excellence.
A Space Force of Excellence.
Thank
That's
you,
right,
Joe.
Joe. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing? Andrew, thank you. Jasmine, yeah. Blake, yep. Fallon, yeah. Everybody, hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody in the chats. And I'm sure I got my chats unlocked now so I can see in the Facebook live chat who's saying hi, who's not saying hi, who's throwing shout outs and all that. Woo, man. So, in case you guys hadn't noticed, U.S. Space Force WTF Moments debuted today as well. So
We were directed by the White House, so we,
yeah,
you know.
the White House says there must be the oh, I know, huh? Intergalactic. Actually, that is a pretty good that is a good idea to have Intergalactic as their as a theme song, like for anyways. Yeah,
I think honestly, you know, the Army has a dun-dun song, you know, everything. I think that would be a great Beastie Boys would be a great theme song for Space Force. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here's my thing about Space Force. As long as let's put it this way. Now, in case you guys don't know what's going on, this is not parody. This is not hyperbole. The president today announced a sixth. Hey, what's up, Alexandra? A sixth component of the service, meaning we have
sixth, not part of the Air Force,
yeah,
the
not
Navy,
a branch, nothing. It is. So we have the U.S. Air Force, we have the United States Army, we have the United States Navy, and then we have their infantry called Marines, and then we have the Coast Guard.
Coasties.
And so now the sixth component will be the U.S. Space Force.
This is the best story of nothing will top this. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "It is not enough to merely have an American presence in space. We must have an American dominance in space."
Exactly.
Very importantly, I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and the Pentagon, and this is serious, to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the sixth
Space Force
armed forces. That is a big statement. Why do you have to say it's a big statement? We got it. He said in the meeting of the National Space Council today, we're going to have an Air Force and we're going to have a Space Force, separate but equal. it is going to be something.
Well, let's put it this way. Check this out. Look, it's not uncommon. It is not uncommon. I'm serious. What's up, Cody?
This has got to be fake. Like
No,
it
it can't. This is I'm saying. He wants to fight. He wants to fight illegal aliens on the ground and in space. So let's
we have to go to Klendathu and fight those damn.
We got to fight them bugs. That's right. You know, the more I'm doing my part and all that. This is it is not uncommon. Would you like to know more? The need to Space Force intensifies. No, but check this out. What's funny is that if you think about it, this has not been the first time that another component. This, believe it or not, there is precedent of a new branch of service being created out of individuals that didn't want to do Army shit. General Hap Arnold, who was a general he was the only general of the Army only to become the general of the Air Force, to create the Air Force, the U.S. Air Force, because they didn't like getting dirty, you know, they wanted to have that entitled mentality, yes, indubitably. So they created the U.S. Air Force out of this. So this is a whole new realm here.
Because the Army Air Corps didn't sound cool enough, apparently.
Yeah, the U.S. Army Air Corps, yeah, because then they wanted to separate. So everyone was going about, well, this needs to be this. I'm telling you what right now, this right here, exactly, Matt. We're calling HRC. I'm telling everybody, I'm gonna go see my boss tomorrow at my multi-star headquarters. I said I want Space Force. I will re-enlist to stay in longer for Space Force. Force.
When this story broke, I was watching a World Cup game at work because I had time. Well, I had it playing next to me, so I was still working. But I saw it and I read it, and I immediately emailed my division chief, and I let him know. I said, if there is a GS public affairs position in Space Force, I will be immediately applying and leaving this job. I said, I want to give you notice, so in case it pops up and I say, hey, I got an interview for Space Force, you will understand. He actually sent me an email back going, are you serious? I sent him the article. He goes, I support your decision.
Yes.
If you get a chance, go for it.
Here's the thing about Space Force, okay?
As long as it's a GS-12 or 13, I'm good.
Let's walk this through. Let's argue back and forth on this, because we discussed this before in the war room, and I think, honestly, if everyone in the military right now stays where they're at, because I'm telling you what, this is going to end up being, this is going to be nerd fest. If you thought World of Warcraft and motherfuckers on Steam and fucking what's that other streaming service on Mixer, think about all those gamers are now going to have their time. They just got to, I don't know, do some PT or something like that. But think about it.
Not just thumb PT.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly. You have to use more than your thumbs, and the rest of your hands. But think about this. This is pivotal right now. We can't even get the fucking Air Force to get the goddamn F-35 scored away. We can't get the Army to fix their fucking M4s, let alone they had a weapons test that they select a better weapon than the M4. This has to be a complete 100% away from the Army. It has to be away from everybody, from the bottom up. From nothing can be borrowed from the Army because they'll fuck it up. Nothing can be borrowed from the Marine Corps because for some reason, due to movies and video games, the Marine Corps has always been Space Marines and aliens, LV-247, all that other shit. Halo, they're all fucking Marines, right? The only thing exactly that. The only thing I would support
fucking Space Marines.
The Space Marines. Yeah, the only thing I would support would be ODSTs from Halo, the Orbital Drop Shot Troopers, Airborne, because they're coming from space, right? So basically, in order for you
more
to
like air assault, though.
Yeah, actually, you're right, because they come down in pods and then they open it up.
Yeah,
so
they come down in pods or whatnot. So it's almost a mixture between air assault and airborne.
Correct. However, you have to have
Podborne.
You have to nuts. Yeah, exactly. You have to have the nuts to do this. So that means you have to be airborne qualified to be in the Space Force, because all them legs are scared of heights, right? You're going up into space.
That's the reason why we don't jump out of planes with a piece of cloth on us to keep us from falling on the ground, because we're scared of heights.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have enough whiskey to keep with that logic right there.
Everyone's putting their Chewbacca mask exactly. Exactly. So think about this. All the names that are involved in space. So first off, it can't be anything Marines, because the last time I checked, Marine equates to something that has to do with water, right? So no Marine shit. No, there's no Marine shit unless we are doing, like, we're discussing this in war. You're doing a planetary assault, and then it's no fun because you just build a fucking Death Star. See, we're mixing movies and shit here. sagas.
Hey, this
and-
is Space Force.
This is
We
Space
could-
Force.
We could pick and choose from all these scientific minds.
Exactly,
Or scientific
exactly.
minds that have created all these things. We're not signed. We're not part of Warner Brothers. We're just gonna pick and choose all the cool sci-fi stuff. We're gonna put it together and make Space Force.
Exactly. So everyone's arguing. All the nerds are already at work. We're arguing. Wait a minute. Well, if you have the Imperial, because you know when the nerds are coming, you know who the nerds are in your organization when we start talking about Space Force, and then all of a sudden you start going into, you mix up one ship with another ship of a different realm. So like, I was talking about Star Wars and Star Trek in the same room, and I guess to a hardcore Star Trek fan, that's like antimatter and matter. It's like water and oil, fire and you just can't fucking mix that. You cannot mix the two galaxies together. So we were watching all these fucking nerds come out of the woodwork talking about, well, when you think about it, the Imperial Navy is actually more of a navy. And these guys were serious. I mean, these guys were dead set serious talking about how will we do a landing. So we war gamed after Chow. We war gamed after Chow. That's all we did. How would we build a Space Force? Well, first off, you can't have anybody in the fucking army in it because you have to think more forward and more. I'm not saying there's some like Stephen Hawking's and shit that have to be involved in Space Force. There has to be. My dumb ass is going to be in it unless you need me to like mow some space grass. I ain't fucking doing shit. Ain't nothing I can do. Maybe operate some weapons or something like that and go, Matt Damon, and you fire from the fucking sky. I'll be that gunner that's in Star Wars that, there's another one right there, and then you're blasting escape pods. That's the only thing I'd be doing. But you have to think, you can't have Marines. It's the U.S. Air Force, so they're more worried about with shit in atmosphere, right? So any other stuff, sorry, that's the Air Force. You had your chance. You should have broke out in space a long time ago. Let's see. The Navy, stick to the water. The Marines, stick to the water.
Oh, I have to say, the Air Force has been bitching ever since because we have a space command.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck you guys.
The Army has a space command. What the fuck does
You
an
had your
Army?
chance.
Yeah,
Bye.
what the fuck does an Army have to do with a space command? Oh, I'm sorry. Kelly Kennedy is our guest tonight. Journalist and author who's got Mondo combat experience both as a civilian and military from 1991 to now. She's badass.
She's gonna write the next book on Space Force.
Yeah, she is. Ooh, and exactly that. Think about the weaponry and shit. Hey, that's not the time to have a fucking weapons malfunction. All of a sudden, you find out that your M4 is a piece of shit in LV-426 when you're fighting xenomorphs. Fuck that. You want an XM8. You want some particle beam shit. You know what I mean? You want some good shit. You don't know. Exactly.
Just so we can hit all the different, don't forget I want the shit from Firefly. That shit was badass.
Oh, no, actually, that was a petty.
Fuck the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, the Millennium Falcon's kind of like, that's... See, that's another thing, too. You have to look at practicality of it, too. How first off, during the so everyone exactly that all the S6s just jizz their pants now. Everybody, Space Force? What? Somebody say Space Force, and then they heard President Trump say, "Yes, we're having a Space Force." I'm honestly, I'm stoked. I can't wait to see how this would work out. Again, we cannot have any of these dinosaurs that are currently worrying about fucking SSDs to be in this force. We have to have some forward-thinking motherfuckers.
The Stephen Hawking's motherfuckers, and we need to put them in the room with like the best science fiction minds and go, y'all create it, y'all make sure it works, call it a day. That's what we need right now, because you're exactly right. We can't have these old guys that are like, well, I was in a Sherman in World War. Okay, dude.
Yeah. We don't need.
This
we don't
is
need
not for you.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need those kind of boots. Meanwhile, our Space Force soldiers. What do we call them? Are they soldiers? Are they astro soldiers?
I gotta find it. Somebody
what do we
sent.
call 'em?
I don't know if I sent you the picture where somebody sent the ranks, like the proposed ranks. Did I send it to you?
Yeah. Cos we were going back and forth with
Yes, that's where I saw it. Cos sent it.
Cos
I
was
need to
talking
find
about
it.
that, yeah. Find that and throw
the
my
astronaut first class.
astronaut. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You're an astronaut. But see, an astronaut is like geared. No. See, because an astronaut's doing to me, when I think astronaut, because look what the astronauts do. Have you seen, with the advent of technology, those motherfuckers are bored and bored.
That's exactly right. It was Elon Musk needs to be like the CEO. Or,
exactly.
Give him some stars and go, hey,
he needs
dude, let's make this happen.
He needs to be exactly that. So right now, let's write this down. So Elon Musk will be the Secretary of the Space Force, because we have a Secretary of the Army, Secretary of the Air Force, Secretary of the Navy. So Elon Musk You're hearing it first right now. WTF Nation Radio. Start making
WTF
memes.
Nation Radio said it first because
Yep. Start
we've
making
had
memes.
this weird thing where news outlets are saying exactly the same thing we are the day after we say it. We're not saying they're listening to us, but
But
it is a little bit of-
morning drives are very interesting. When I go to work and I'm driving to work and I hear on the morning talk shows pretty much verbatim what we talk about. They even have a flash and an ice on the air too, going back and forth. Except we cuss more than them. So
Chief Pentagon spokeswoman Dana White said in a statement that the military will work with Congress and other stakeholders to move forward with this policy. We understand the president's guidance. Our policy board will begin working on the issue, which has implications for intelligent operations for the Air Force, Army, Marines, Navy, White said in a statement. The head of NASA said the agency strongly supports Trump's position, forging sustainable and focused space policy that strengthens America's leadership. This isn't a fluke, people. This is happening. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but holy crap. What is it? June 18th, 2018.
That's right.
The creation of the Space Force has begun.
Yep.
Holy crap.
Exactly. 06-18-18. Think about this now. Dun, dun, dum, 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 dum. It's gonna be awesome. So
You just
Elon
reminded
Musk.
me of, Space Odyssey 2001.
Exactly. So Elon Musk is going to be the secretary of the Space Force. We're going to have some of the cyber kids, like the cyber nerds at West Point, at the counterterrorism cybercom guys.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
we all know you're out there.
Yeah, you're out there. You're going to be the ones that are going to be commanding a Space Force, because old curmudgeon. I like looking at shit blow up anyway. So you send me, you could put me on a rocket test and I'll watch it, so I'll blow it up or something like that. I don't know, but I will be. I am not to command or be a sergeant major of, or first sergeant or operations sergeant major, any type of NCOing of Space Force, because I won't know anything of what happens in space, because there's a lot of
Space Force.
Space Force. There's so much to think about. Service ensures citizenship. I'm about to say.
Would you like to know more?
Would you like to know more? And if when it's time for you to take leave while you're orbiting in space, you can jump in your pod and take off. So you won't have trips anymore, right? You'll have like slips or spips or something like that. Trips. What do they call that? Anyways. So exactly.
There's so much. You got weaponry.
Weaponry. Oh, who's going to do
the uniform look like?
Exactly. What's it going to be? It should be flight suits. It should
Do you
be
have
flight
to wear
suits.
cover at all times?
So we have this down. So listen, I hope you guys are doing some homework. Please turn in memes.
We have a space beret.
We have a space. No fucking
purple.
berets. No fucking berets. No berets.
It's Snow White.
No.
The beret is Snow White, so it matches the astronaut.
No, it's got to be a War Horses for veterans fucking ball cap. That's what you wear.
Oh man, there's one of them I need to buy. They're badass.
Yeah, I don't like flat bill hats.
Shameless plug for
War Horses
veterans.
Hey, what's up,
They're
War Horse?
awesome.
War Horse. So that would that should be like one of their patches. You know how you have morale patches on your flight uniforms? You should have like a War Horse patch on there for Space Force.
Hell yeah.
I mean, think about it.
That's so on your unit patch again.
If you fuck up, if you fuck up in space, there's no jumper error in space. If you come burning in through the fucking atmosphere, then
you dead.
You dead. There's no recovery from it.
Would you
There's
like to know more?
Yeah. Would you like to know more?
Oh my God, I won't lie. It's been my wife bought me because for Father's Day, which hey, to all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. My wife got me this. Well, we had this apple whiskey one time, so she went to find the same one, and they didn't have the apple one, so she thought blackberry would be a great idea. I'll tell you what, it's actually not bad. I'm not for different flavored whiskeys. I just like my whiskey. This is not bad, and it's making today so much better since the creation of Space Force.
The Space Force, exactly. Oh,
so now I'm having the best show ever.
Okay,
it's great.
So
we have a Space Force tank.
We have a Space Force anthem all ready to go, sung to the tune of the Marine Corps hymn. Already. No pun intended. J ready. First to fight for the it's for the Army song. I'm sorry. First to fight for the right and to build up Vader's might, and the Space Force goes floating along. That's awesome.
They're on Earth. They are dumb, shooting lasers at the sun.
And the Space Force goes warping along. And it's fly away,
because Earth is
really gay. Crank up the photons loud and strong. We go. You will always know that the Space Force goes floating along.
Gross.
Oh man. Yeah, see, it needs to be away from it. It needs to be like more dynamic, like heavy fucking like symphony, like like bombastic theme music and shit, because this is Space Force.
I say we take out the words for intergalactic and just we figure out words to go in that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you, dude, we actually that is actually a pretty good fucking idea. Fucking having intergalactic play the fucking thing. But my biggest thing is that we cannot have anybody who is currently in any of the branches of service be in it, because they will fuck it up. Now let's see. Well, let's go down to staff. What would be in a Space Force unit? So you have to have a fucking whatever battalion. What would be a battalion? What is it? With the pew pews, or were you going from pew pew to pew pew, or what's
would you have a battalion, or would you go kind of like the Air Force structure and go with squadrons?
Ooh, yeah. That sounds more Space Forces like that, whatever.
Space Squadron.
Yeah. That would be that sounds more of a, spacey, yeah. So you'd have
space.
Yeah, why'd you have to go there? And he was in the last game. So we'd set up as squadrons, and then we had would be a flight, then a squadron, and then a wing, and then you'd have a command, right? Isn't that what's more or an Air Force or a Space Force? Anyways, see, we're trying not to make it like
Space Command.
Yeah, we're trying not to make it like the Air Force, but so you have to have an S1. You have to have an S2. You have to have an S3. You have to have kind of like all that shit. You still have to have logistics. The S4 will have to be with more responsible personnel, because you will be signing for multi-million-dollar pieces of equipment. Like computers that are worth, $150,000 just can't go to any fucking dickhead in the supply room.
Privates are signing for Humvees and shit. Like, hell no, astronaut private first class. You're gonna sign for this space shuttle.
Exactly. Come here, Swamp. You need to sign for this.
You crashed this.
Exactly. And that's another thing too. How are we going to get our technology back? We haven't flown a space shuttle. Again, Elon Musk, the Secretary of the Space
Force.
Force.
He's the only one who's brought one back, right? With the rocket, not just the shuttle that gone around and just kind of glided back to Earth. Like, we actually had a shuttle, like a shuttle in rockets, and the rocket actually landed.
Yeah, everything landed, with the exception of that one on the last one, because they tried to do a test to see if they could do more precise on a platform. It was like a 40 by 40 platform in the middle of the ocean.
Hey, that's why we got to practice. See, they've been keeping up. They're like, okay, we have the technology.
Exactly.
Now we're going to enlist.
Exactly.
We're going to enlist Musk.
Yeah, so he's going to be in it. So, and I'll be honest, like, again, I'm stepping back from this one. I'll just go ahead and retire from the U.S. Army, and then be like you said, be like a GS, or be like a Space Force civilian.
I've already set my USA jobs to give me alert anytime the term Space Force and public affairs.
I'm not leaving.
You think I'm kidding?
I'm not leaving the fucking ground.
I've set it on Indeed jobs. If it comes up, Flash will be applying. I don't care if they're like, you're vastly underqualified. I don't care. I will make it happen.
I'm going to make sure. I'll be like the startup. I don't mind starting up the unit, but once like rockets and stuff start flying, I don't know what's gonna go. I might be too old by then or some shit like that. But, I mean, again, Air Force, you had your chance. Marines, stick to the water. Navy, duh. Because that right now the biggest fight will be the Navy and the Air Force fighting over ships. Because then the Air Force will say, because it flies in space, they own the space, when technically, no, they don't. Because the new charter and the new authorities under specific titles to Congress will say, no, Space Force, you own space. Air Force, stick to atmosphere. You know what I mean? That's what I think should happen. Coast Guard, no. What's the Coast Guard gonna do?
Fucking Coast Guard. Hey,
they gotta guard the fucking
they
gotta guard the fucking they're gonna guard the fucking launch pad in fucking Florida.
Don't worry, guys. We've got the coast. Okay.
Exactly.
You're good.
Go ahead. We're a team. Good job, Coast Guard. Good job. No, really, we're helping. That's right, Space Force.
The Space Force makes the Coast Guard the sixth least useful branch of the Army right now.
Exactly.
I'm kidding. Hey, we love you guys here at the Coast Guard. Keep on being awesome. But dear God, you're the Coast Guard.
Yeah, exactly. Do they have a Space Command?
Space Force hasn't been created, and they're more useful than you guys are right now.
Yeah, exactly. Again, so there's gonna be a lot of butt hurtness. There's gonna be a lot of arguing and fighting, because
I think the uniform should look like Buzz Lightyear.
Well, because it's in space.
Mm-hmm.
It's in space.
Got
You
a
gotta
little,
be spiked.
got a little jetpack and the wings that I push a button, the wings pop out and stuff. So I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. Fucking the owl says Starship Troopers. Actually, it should be Starship Troopers.
Yeah, but the gray uniforms.
But
you
the gray,
know?
it looks very Nazi-esque. As soon as I
It
get,
does, like,
so
I
as soon
think
as
we
you
should
see,
we should do a deal with Disney. They should we should use buy the copy or trademark and stuff for Buzz Lightyear's uniform. Use the color palette, the purple, white, and like the toned down neon green, and that will be the Space Force outfit.
and that's like instead of saying, because in the 82nd you go all the way, so the Space Force you go to infinity and beyond.
Hell yeah.
Is that what you fucking?
Dude, I will rip up my well, I guess I won't do. I will turn in my DD-214. Bring me in the Space Force. They need public affairs right now. We're in an important stage.
Mm-hmm.
They need young public affairs, not these guys who've been doing it for 50 years. I remember when there was AFN Frankfurt and blah, blah, blah.
Back in the day, we had a Space Force on the moon. Do you know we had an installation? On the
Last
moon?
time there was Space Force, Ronald Reagan was around.
Yeah, we called it SDI. But again, I thought nobody. It's it's just fun. It's almost like when I heard that today, it was like hearing somebody say, "Well, I'm going to create something that's for deep underwater force." And I'm thinking the Navy has submarines for that.
Josh brings up a good point. He says everyone's making jokes about Starship Troopers, but there's no way Sharp and co-ed showers can coexist. I can coexist with co-ed showers.
No, I was saying it won't happen. It won't happen.
We're
Just
gonna
right
have to
now
have separate
because
showers. We can't be totally like the Space
no,
Marine.
well, no, exactly, because reason why we can't be like the mobile infantry
Party
and
pooper.
fleet, but thinking of something a party pooper is just now,
No,
now,
Josh's party. You
yeah.
had to bring that note up.
yeah, we don't know what to be anymore. We don't know what's supposed to be. Are we supposed to be taking showers with chicks because it's co-ed and they're equal, or we're not equal, or not? Are we supposed to be not? Or are we supposed to be separate, or what? Yeah, that's a very good
Space
question.
Sharp.
Yeah. Or how do you handle alien life when you finally meet them?
Shoot it.
No, I'm saying, well, I mean, an STD is in fucking Newt Etuan on the moon will be pretty fucked up there. I saw the movie fucking Species.
We need to have the Roughnecks. That needs to be the first unit.
Yeah,
Blake
exactly.
is right. Roughnecks need to be the first squadron.
We could go endless in this. Everyone's talking about framing it like the Empire.
Space genders.
Yeah, space genders. Exactly. Oh my God, space gender.
Hey, keep the comments coming, you guys.
I love it.
Honestly, we're doing the Pentagon's, like, they're probably listening right now going, man, these guys have some great ideas, or they're fucking retarded. Either which way, keep the comments coming, because this is a safe space. This is a creative safe space. Whatever you got, we just say, me and Ice just sang through the damn template for the Space Forces song. So keep it coming.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys on Periscope too and Mixer, keep it coming.
Yeah, exactly. Keep it up, because I'll be honest with you.
Oh my God, this is going down as my favorite show ever.
Well, Space Force, and they have impeccable grammar skills, and they also know how to math. They really know how to math.
Do you come up with a Space Force Special Forces?
Ooh, like a space
SPSF sounds like a sunblock.
That sounds like you're talking about space.
Tim Kennedy's gonna sign
space
up first.
operations, space special operations.
Yeah, do you get to have a beard in your flight suit?
No, you can't, because that's actually what you don't. You can't have a beard. You're gonna come back operator as fuck from a pressure suit. Everyone will be looking all twiggy.
I've seen some movies where they had beards, and I've seen some where they didn't.
Yeah, but that was like Armageddon or something like that, and they were trying to blow up an asteroid. That wasn't really a space.
Nope,
Force
no.
type thing.
I watched Armageddon. No one has a beard.
No one had a beard.
No one had a beard in Armageddon.
So who had a beard in a movie?
The only one who kind of had a beard was the Russian who just hadn't shaved in a week.
Yeah, exactly.
That was it. But
Yeah.
he had been stuck on the space station for a year or something. Everyone else came from the U.S. clean shaven.
Yeah, Special Operations Group Space Group Force. Special Operations Group Space. The defect is going to be shitty as fuck.
We can have Space Dependas. Thank you, Blake.
Yes, exactly.
Well, my husband is a Space Marine, so I'm going to need to cut in front of you.
Yeah,
in front
exactly.
Of the Space
He did not recognize me at the International Space Station as a
They did
wife.
not salute me in the Space Force way.
Yeah, exactly.
These damn Army people.
Exactly. Could you
I wouldn't
imagine?
take this if I was on Garrison Mars.
Exactly. Well, I'm just saying, everything be looking all fucking like futuristic and shit, like or grungy, like Battlestar Galactica, like that TV show Battlestar Galactica, the reboot, not the old one. Yeah, exactly. How do you sham in space?
I found an air duct. I'm going to sleep in here for an hour.
Or just float around.
I'm gonna hope there's no aliens gonna come and kill me here.
I'm
But
about to say, dude, we need to start
Take that
catching.
thing.
We need to catch. As a matter of fact, we need to tell the people at U.S. Space Force WTF moments to start cranking out some content because we're freaking we have questions.
I'm waiting for Duffel Blog to put out some articles.
We have questions about. Oh my god, no man, this is gonna be fucking hilarious. We have
You
questions
had
on
me.
this.
This is a big,
space
this is a
agenda.
huge rabbit hole that we're just gonna keep rolling because there's so much. Like you gotta get space mechanics.
Oh, exactly. Oh, yeah,
You have to
Sean
have
has a good one too.
Space mechanic in the whole squadron, and he's on lunch. He doesn't want to help you, PMCS your rocket. So you have to wait and Circle X something.
Could you imagine all the contractor jobs that are gonna fucking go away because we can't have this? You know what I mean? How do you jack it in space? Or you had the space trip. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was expecting. Like Total Recall. I'm Quaid. My name is Quaid. That's what I'm expecting. Like a chick with 3 titties and stuff like that. I mean, it's that's what you're gonna expect. Is that what you're gonna
Hey,
expect?
there's some strip clubs in Fort Bragg that got those already. So we're already
You
getting.
ain't lying. Ho ho ho. Where's Ice at? Oh my God, Ice is a fucking bounty on your head. No way,
There's
dude.
already one,
Yeah.
so we're a step ahead of that too.
Well, I have space exactly. I'm saying what in Space Force, no one can hear you scream. Exactly. You ain't lying, dude. That's what I'm saying. It's you have all these unknowns that no one has figured out. But I guarantee it. There'll be individuals there who will try to get in there to try to be in the Space Force, and then
That E4 Space Mafia.
yeah, I'd say exactly, and I guarantee it. The Space Force is not where you want to lie about how smart you are, because your ass will be. Because think about it. Because we go to the motor pool, right? And it's first sergeant. I walk up to the Joes in the smoke pit and shoot the shit. Yeah, that's usually where I get all the dirt or Joe.
Sharkies on the moon.
Yeah, Sharkies exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly. Hey, did you check out that new place? It's called
Can we
Craters.
ask 82nd if that's gonna be like off limits for their airborne soldiers? Oh wait, sorry guys, you can only fly from planes on Earth.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. Sorry.
You don't
man.
own this guy no more.
You know this guy number one anymore. Exactly. Do you see that new titty bar? It's called Craters. Let's go over there, man. Let's go. Let's go to Craters. But no, think about.
Oh my god. Oh,
It's already off limits. That's what Sean says.
we're
Oh,
gonna effectively off limits this location.
Yeah,
we haven't built it yet, but you can't go there.
no, but you can't. Like when I go to the.
That's only for space contractors.
But when I go to the motor pool and I walk by the smoke pit and I hear the Joes talking and all that stuff, I'm hearing all the you're hearing the pulse as a senior leader. The first sergeant, you're hey, what's going on? Hey, first sergeant, hey, let me get a smoke, man. Oh, Roger that, first sergeant, and then give me a smoke. So what y'all been doing? And then you hear them talking. I'm like, carry on, and they're talking about whatever and all that stuff. You're talking to them at Joe level, right? You understand because of Joe's, right? But think about this, dude. You can't walk up to you can't walk up to a smoke pit in fucking Space Force. You got to go to a vape pit, right? Because they're all more likely going to fucking vape. They're all going to vape, and you're going to show up. They're going to start talking about quantum physics and astrometrics and fucking hydraulics and so actually the key ratio of this phantom the quantum of the thesis of the it's pretty innocuous of how space travel's become, and you're gonna be like all right guys, I'll vape with you later, thanks for the
Ice.
What?
When we broadcast for the first time from the Pentagon, Area 51, the Alamo, and the moon, when we do the Monday edition from the moon, I'm changing my name to Flash Gordon.
I don't know why exactly.
We're gonna start,
Exactly.
Flash.
The moment any one of us.
This is Flash reporting from Hell yeah. I've been waiting all my life.
Yeah, this is your moment.
This is my moment.
The moment you've been waiting for. No, I mean, there's so many emotions running through my head right now about think about this, a whole new branch of service. The youngest branch of service we have right now is the Air Force. The U.S. Air Force was instituted in 1946. So it's not that old. You know, Army and Marine Corps and Navy, we've been around for a while. You know, we're old as shit.
Do you have a space National Guard? Like if we conquer like Mars or whatnot, do we have a Mars National Guard?
Ooh, yeah, you're right.
And what happens? So say we can come up with the technology. You know, we're gonna work on the flying stuff. But what if do we come up with like space tanks that we rolling across Mars, blowing up? You know, you got to have tankers in space.
Yeah, I didn't think
Maybe
about
not
that.
right away as we're flying around, but when we start like colonizing shit, like we're going around Titan and rolling around a big old tank. Tankers live again. If you ain't Cav, if you ain't space Cav, you ain't space shit.
Oh my God, Cav man, I get to go to space. Now this is space Cav, not fucking ground Cav. Get the fuck out of here.
Your Stetson's painted on top of your space helmet.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh my God, that is all. All right,
You get to wear spurs.
dude. Oh my, could you imagine space helmets running around? Exactly. Motherfuckers walking. If you ain't space kid.
Noise. Ching ching. Sorry guys, I'm Cav. My apologies.
We're fucking weightless, motherfucker. Why are you wearing them shits? Cling, cling.
Hey, shut up, man! I will pop a hole in your suit.
Oh, this is space cab. You ain't space cab. You ain't space shit.
Right.
Space for ride. Dude, oh man, the possibilities.
Cheers.
Oh, I know exactly. Rick and Morty will come in. We'll show up. Morty, what the hell is this shit, Morty? Oh man,
Ash's right. You're gonna have to wear a PT belt when you're up there.
dude.
Make sure you're safe.
Well, from what? See, that's what I'm saying. You're up there by your.
Space shit.
Yeah, but could you imagine? That's like
You don't know
the
what's
first.
out there.
No, but what I'm
Asteroid's
saying.
coming at you. You got to wear your PT belt so it knows to deflect away from you.
But think about this. We sent a car up. We sent. You know, we sent. You know what I mean? We've sent people up there. We sent people to the moon and back. We've sent people in orbit. But we never sent anybody wearing a PT belt up there. That might be a missile, Rick. that might be the reason how aliens contact us. So they'll be
belt.
next thing you know, they'll be flying along because sun and light, the way it fucking reflects off, and it takes a while for light to travel. Somebody's gonna go up there in a PT belt, and all of a sudden,
Sorry, Blake. Blake's like one. Damn it, Pry. Why can't you do it? But him push up. But Sarge, I'm floating away.
Exactly. That's what's gonna
the
happen.
PT test when you're in the Space Force?
Exactly. And that's another thing too.
Do you have to have a body fat index if you're floating?
No, that's what I'm saying, because you're not
Hey,
really
if you
height
can
weight.
fit an extra large suit, you're good.
But what if you have what if you encounter gravity that's extremely heavy? So you say you weigh 180 pounds, but then when you land on gamma X-ray in the Andromeda fucking sector, your ass is going to weigh 500 pounds and you break bones and shit. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, because it's one of those things where, or you might be a heavy guy and you might weigh like 200 pounds and you're like 6 something, but you have a quarter of your weight and you're doing some shit and you float away. You bounce off the fucking the planet's surface and you float away or something like that. Dude, LTs get lost on land. Could you imagine LTs getting lost in fucking space? Could you imagine?
Hey, first Sergeant, you know where we're going.
Bro,
we passed by this planet like twice already.
Yeah.
We're running low on fuel.
How do you know? It's got fucking rings around it, First Sergeant. Well, fuck, dude. You're the goddamn LT. You're the one that said, I got the way to do this. Exactly.
So I know where you do the academy.
Where would you do?
Gotta go to San Diego.
What? Why? What's in San Diego?
That's where they did the let's see, hold on. Yeah, that's where they do the academy for Star Trek.
Oh, not San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Not San Diego. I'm about to say.
One of the Sands.
Yeah,
San.
So
if you want to become an officer in the Space Force, you got to go to San Francisco. You got to do the Kobayashi Maru.
Oh yeah.
It's basically the same situation as arguing with a sergeant major.
Oh, who you just walked on grass with your hands in your pockets, not wearing a PT belt, and you don't have any cover on.
If you can survive, you can become a captain.
Exactly. That's where Starfleet headquarters is at. Shuttle Gunners of Excellence. That's right. I don't like that.
We're not gonna have lieutenants in the Space Force.
Yeah,
we're gonna avoid that. We're gonna avoid the getting lost. We're gonna start off with captains.
Well, see, that's why you shouldn't model anything Space Force wise to what we have written in stories in science fiction or sci fantasy, because you got to think about this. Working on the Enterprise or being in the Star Trek room, they're the most micromanaging fucking officers on the fucking planets. Do you ever see a SART there? Do you ever see any NCOs there? You don't see any of that shit. You see no SARTs. There are no SARTs. You have a warrant officer, fucking Chief O'Brien. That's it. A warrant gets more fucking play on Star Trek than SARTs do. So why would we want to emulate the most micromanaging fucking... No. Fuck no. When we could just emulate like the Empire, cannon fodder, motherfuckers not hitting straight and shit like that. All that work. Think about it. The Empire is a plethora of opportunities for SARTs to teach soldiers. Because motherfuckers can't shoot shit. In Star Trek, they all micromanage. I'm going down with an away team. Mr. Wolf, you have the bridge. Next thing you know, fucking there's the fucking commander and everybody. You got the chain of command right there doing a fucking mission that a SART should be doing. So that's what I'm saying. It's
you can't have warrant officers in the Space Force. You know, they'd have nowhere to play golf. And
oh no, warrant officer would like Jeff Goldblum in fucking Jurassic Park. Life finds a way. A fucking warrant will find a fucking way. So
Blake brings up, what, you know, do you get an award ribbon for being in the Space Force like you do, you know, the Army?
No, it's a whole different.
You got to come up with a whole different award system.
Exactly. Well, you get the National Defense Service Medal. You have the Rainbow Pride flag for the Army Service Ribbon? Is that what you have? I mean, so you'd have to change different awards. You couldn't have one award because like you're saying, Flash, it is an entirely new branch of service. It is not
so many opportunities.
There's so many opportunities, dude. This is something where we can exactly. So you have to incorporate the tenets of leadership of the Empire.
You have bone spurs? No problem. You can float.
You can float, son. You can float. As a matter of fact, we'll make sure you're on a Class M planet with only 15% fucking gravity.
Bad knees? No
bad
problem.
knees. Oh, exactly. Think about this. Profile soldiers can serve in the Space Force. The Sergeant Major of the Space Force won't fucking put you out like the Sergeant Major of the Army will. Fuck that.
Well, you're too broken to be in the Army, so we're gonna
put you in the Space Force.
To the Space Force.
Because we
you're
float.
gonna be up on near Uranus.
Exactly.
That'll be your station.
That'll be exactly. And that's like the fucking Space Force's version of Korea.
I've been waiting all day to do the Uranus joke.
No, that's like that's the Space Force's version of Korea.
Oh, so Ashley says this whole conversation has made her day. Well, Ashley, it has made my day too. This is like, ever since this broke, I've been hitting up Ice on our messenger, just like, I'm so excited about talking about this and sending him everything Space Force related. This is possibly the greatest day of my life, besides my kids being born.
Yeah, this is awesome.
And this is a close, second.
We can actually discuss nerdisms without being called nerds and shit.
This would be the only time Recruiter is actually playing World of Warcraft recruiting people. Hey, he created that mod?
Exactly.
We have this program called the Space Force.
The Space Force, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You have an officer who's micromanaging and throwing everyone around. Emperor, a sergeant major like Darth Vader who vaporizes anybody who disagrees with them. Stormtroopers fuck up every assignment they're given, and the most important overly piece of equipment that they has taken out, flying down straight a tunnel and shooting 2 missiles. Now, that's what I'm saying. We would learn. We are learning from this, so we're incorporating some of the leadership traits. We would not have the Stardust flaw like the Empire has with the first Death Star. We would have so think about it. So in a way, our own stories.
Carl, check the exhaust pipe. Make sure there's an opening for like a photon torpedo or something like that, because I don't want this fucker blowing up.
Yeah, is it a proton or a photon?
Board that shit up.
Yeah, exactly. Is it a photon or a proton? So I mean,
I hit both. I think I mixed them both.
Oh man. But again, I'm just thinking that fucking, it's funny that how all of a sudden nerdism, I guess, is kind of cool. I guess now on this, it's kind of a thing to think about, because now we are just discussing this. The youngins, the individuals that are young that are future are the ones who should be planning this. We should not have, like I said, old fuckers like me should not even be involved. As long as I get to join them and wear that cool looking uniform and stuff like that to say I was in the Space Force in the last few years before I retire, then that's badass. I'll be your whatever senior enlisted person that they have. But right now,
I can see it now. When my son graduates high school and I'm like, are you going to college? Well, Dad, I'm going to college. Then I'm enlisting in the Space Force.
That's right.
I'm so
you-
proud of you.
Oh, exactly. You know what, baby ice? That's what I'm saying. Our kids, our little ones. 'Cause
Our
we got
kids,
little ones. Yeah,
like,
we got little ones.
This shit is cool, and maybe there might be. I have a closer, I have probably a closer chance of getting a PAO position Space Force than us actually getting the actual fight war fighters going and everything. But I mean, this is pretty cool. This is like something our kids and their kids are actually going to be enlisting and doing and stuff like that. And that's actually like, stepping back from just having a fucking great time with this shit. That is actually like pretty like, whoa, like mark your calendars. This is when Space Force was announced, and now would you like to know more? And just think about it this way. I wonder how many people, when they join Space Force, will switch their religion to Jedi.
See, I'm glad you brought that up, because what will be Elon Musk's doctrine on this? Because the Jedi were a fundamentalist religious group that try to impose their will upon a democracy. That's
Hey,
what
we're not going to play this game about the Jedi are good or bad, because
no,
that's a whole other conversation, and it
no.
might get physical.
No. Yeah, because the rebel are scum. Anyways, so but every
Cadet
single
Cause reporting for duty.
Exactly. Fuck yeah, dude. And think about this whole planet was taken by some private who was a former drill sergeant. Was it the end of fucking Starship Troopers? That was it. What was this? That was their last comment or something like that. But no, that's what I'm saying. You like the Jedi or the Mormons of space. If you say so, whatever, dude. They're more like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. I don't.
Armageddon was space EOD.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, think about all the opportunities.
Bruce Willis is going to be leading the Space Force engineers. We're going to build a wall.
You think so? You're going to build the wall against the xenomorphs? Because we're so you're going to see Congress fighting for the Predators, the xenomorphs, what else? The endomorphs. We're going to talk all monsters too, all the creepy monsters. The bugs. So they're going to be, Nancy Pelosi's going to be there saying that we should embrace them because and then Hillary Clinton's going to say there's positive xenomorphs, and then there's negative xenomorphs.
And we're gonna have the hardline Republicans come out. They're rapists and
Yeah,
murderers.
they're-
And
exactly.
someone's gonna be like, well, yeah, actually, some of them are.
And W is going to come out
Oh
going,
yeah, and they're making eggs out of us, and then
Yeah.
making us like blowing up our chests. So that's that too.
these xenomorphs are terrorists. They must be brought to justice.
Or you're gonna have like the Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, where you're gonna just have like these like smart, the non like we're here to kill you
We don't
right
count
away aliens.
We don't count that. We don't count that.
wanna count
we
that?
don't count that Indiana Jones.
Okay, what
That
about
any
the aliens from the end of AI?
Ooh, yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're worried
I-
about all the
Yeah.
we're worried about all the like the bad aliens, but like what about like the aliens from like damn, what was the movie? It was the Bruce Willis movie with space. Damn it.
But there was like a couple movies with him. Or you're talking about like it's like Fifth Element?
No, yeah, there it is. Fifth Element.
Armageddon?
No, that was he just said with the aliens. That was rocks.
Hashtag Alien Lives Matter.
Exactly.
They had a lot of aliens and good aliens, bad aliens,
Branko can run a space taxi service. But yeah, exactly. What if they're aliens from Mars attacks? You know what I mean? What if they fucking go? That.
I will piss my pants.
Oh, if they show up looking like that,
Play them apparently you have to play them shitty like old country music and they die. So, we got that.
Well, there you go.
I have some of that on my iPod. I will roll that out.
You're into makeup?
Oh my
palette?
god!
I got Hank Williams on here. You got him yodeling over here.
There's nothing wrong with Hank Williams. That's
I love Hank
yeah,
Williams. I'm just saying those aliens did not like that kind of music.
See, that's what I'm saying. So we play him country music that could start a war.
Ashley's, cone heads, big teeth, big heads.
Yeah. Lilu Dallas multi-cac. Lilu multi-cac. Good one, Sean. Okay, so there's a meme right there. We need a CAC for this Space Force.
Space
And
CAC.
we need some space CAC. Go to US Space Force WTF moments and start throwing them some content because they were awaiting the word. We were awaiting the word. We were just hearing rumors about it, and now it's coming out. So fucking A, dude. Space deers. Anyways, so hey, we actually went over our time of what we were going to talk about because we just totally went down some mad intergalactic some rabbit holes there. Our guest coming up in a few minutes is Kelly Kennedy. If you don't know who she is, we're gonna let her,
certified badass.
she's badass, and I'm pretty sure she could handle space if she had to cover it as a journalist. So we'll get her take on that too. But we're gonna let her talk about the 2 books that she was involved with, and we're pretty pumped because we have been trying to get more of a plethora of veterans aside from the guys always coming on this. Rarely do we have, because we had Minx talking to a veteran as well, female veteran. We want to make it more equal. We want to hear it from the female veteran side of the house as well. So stand fast, and then listen to some space stuff, and then we'll be right back for with Kelly Kennedy. So intergalactic shots.
Space shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue. to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Good evening, boys and girls. This is Tim Kennedy. I'm a Special Forces sniper, a Ranger qualified Green Beret, a UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We will be sexist. We will offend you. But there will be magic, and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.
And we're back. Part 2 of the Monday edition Space Force with Kelly Kennedy. What's going on?
Hiya.
Welcome.
I'm not going to space.
No, you're not going to go to space to cover this? This
No.
is important.
We've been talking to her, and I said she should write the first Space Force book, since this is happening now.
I know.
June 18th, 18.
You should definitely cover it, Kelly.
Only if I get a cool costume.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. No, it'll be a uniform. We don't wear costumes. We're a uniform.
Oh, right.
It'll be a uniform. So, hey, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, so you've been involved in 2 books. Can you tell us about the books you've been involved with? And recently, you just have a recent one come out. Was it Partner with Kelly? With Kate? Fight
yeah,
Like a Girl?
she was. It's her story, and I'm the co-author. So we tell her story about. She's Lieutenant Colonel Kate Germano, and she was in charge of the female Marine Corps boot camp for women at Parris Island, which is the only boot camp for women. In the Marine Corps, it's separate, so that's different from all the other services. The men and women are separated out for basic training or boot camp. And she came in and she showed that if you have higher expectations for women, they will perform better. So they started running faster, they started shooting better, they started getting fewer injuries. But at about the same time that she was doing this, the Marine Corps was trying to show that women shouldn't be in infantry units because they don't shoot well, they run slowly, and they get higher numbers of injuries.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, and then while she was at Parris Island, she enforced some strict rules saying, you can't abuse your recruits, and you need to hold everybody to higher standards. And so she had a bit of a uprising there, and she was ultimately fired for being too mean at Marine Corps boot camp.
Whoa. Wait. So she was fired for being too... That sounds like an oxymoron. She was fired for being too mean at a Marine Corps boot camp.
Yeah, she was rolling her eyes, and sometimes she didn't hug people, and she hugged other people. I'm serious. If you read the investigation carefully, the first time I read the investigation, I was like, whoa, I don't know if I want to work with this chick. She sounds horrible. And the second time I read the investigation, I was like, oh my God. I mean, there were crazy things in this investigation. Like, she had an officer walk into her office one day who was supposed to arrange a meeting, like an all-hands meeting, and she didn't do it. So Kate started yelling at her, and this captain held out her hand, like gave her the hand, and then said she had to leave, and went out and started doing some pull-ups to calm herself down, and said she'd come back and talk later. And I just couldn't even imagine anywhere else in the military where that would be okay for a captain to do to a lieutenant colonel, and I was blown away.
Wow, that's stories you hear in the Air Force happening. You don't hear that in the Marine Corps. I mean, because we're gonna get your bio in a minute, but think about that. You've served in the Army. That's a joke that goes on in the Air Force. You talk to the hand,
Right.
ma'am. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you. You know what I mean? That's a
right.
I can imagine that scene, and then Kate just going completely apeshit. See, I can even imagine that scene.
Right. Yeah, I can't imagine ever doing that. I can't imagine doing that to a civilian boss and feeling like it was okay.
Well, I don't know about civilian boss, because you've been in the military long enough. Dealing with a civilian boss, you might have some time to get used to. But I couldn't imagine seeing, especially because a woman Marine, to me, the image that a woman Marine holds even higher, and everyone gets mad at me for saying this, is that not only do they have to prove themselves as a woman Marine, but they have to prove themselves as a woman in the Marines.
Right.
And so to me, it's almost a quadruple standard that they have to abide by. So
absolutely.
So I couldn't even imagine this little captain, holding her hand up to Kate, going, yeah.
Right.
Oh
right.
my God.
Well, and at the same time, Kate was catching hell for not smiling enough, and this is the same regiment where recently the Muslim Marine was being harassed and ultimately jumped out of the window and killed himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a coworker.
And this is why the Marines are not being invited to Space Force.
No, they won't. They won't be. That's
They
sick
will
to the
not
water.
play. They did not play nice. That's some BS right there.
Well, but their uniforms would be better.
No, Space Force would be better. No, they'll make it. We'll make it incorporate.
We'll make it better.
We'll make it better. But I'm just thinking the fact that because I know it's hard for women to serve already. And the standard that you would get that, I as a soldier, I'm still in, so I see it, and Flash is still in, so we still kind of see that as a woman Marine. I mean, the precision, the I don't know, it just seems like Army guys are kind of but the Marine Corps has this image I guess you could say, of their commercials and stuff like that, of being precision, of being disciplined and all that. So you would think a woman Marine, you wouldn't give her shit. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't give Kate any crap if she said, Ice, I need you to go, because I know she's a lieutenant colonel, and I'm not. So if she says, Ice, I need you to go, blah, 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 I would not go, tack to the hand, and then walk out. God, she'd beat my ass.
And she could. I mean, I don't know if you've seen her, but she's got the best biceps, and she just ran a 50-mile race, and she's just totally badass.
Yeah, so. she is a badass. No, but my point being is that, holy crap, I just couldn't even see that she had gone to that. So that book was just released, wasn't it? Fight Like a Girl?
Yeah, came out in April.
The boss was at the at the WTF Nation Enterprise. The big boss was getting books passed out, and I didn't get a copy. So I'm kind of like, hey, where's my copy? I wanna. So
I'll get you one.
Oh, well, thank you. Oh, appreciate it. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, there you go. Yeah, boss. Oh, let's talk to the hand. Sorry. No, I'm just saying he'll beat my ass too. I'm old. But anyways, but tell us about the other book you were involved in. They fought for each other.
Yeah, so we're actually coming up this week on the 11-year anniversary of the time I was embedded with Charlie 126 in Adamiyah, Baghdad, Iraq. They were the hardest hit unit battalion in Iraq since Vietnam. The company I was with lost 14 guys. The platoon I embedded with lost 9, and 5 of them while I was with them. And they were an infantry unit, and oh gosh, the story was just so intense, and they were such a good group of guys. I've been texting with 2 of them all day today. They had 2 incredibly destructive IEDs go off. They, within the battalion, had a first sergeant kill himself out on patrol, just being so stressed out from picking up the pieces, essentially, from one of those explosions, as well as being so worried about food and water that he wasn't eating or drinking himself. They had Russ McInnes, who's 19 years old.
Yep.
You know Russ's story.
Yeah, his story you chronicled. That was the kid who was the recipient of the Medal of Honor, and he was in the turret, and he sees a grenade coming through the hatch, and he's trying to catch it, and everyone's wondering why he's making these funny movements and not realizing that he's trying to tell people that there's a grenade in the vehicle, so he puts his body on it.
Right, follows it all the way down back into the truck and throws himself against.
Yeah, exactly. And before anybody understood what was happening, that's what nobody had any time to react. They just saw him do that. So, of course he died, of his injuries, but it was you're right. That story was pretty. I mean, did they? You were embedded with them. Were you? I mean, obviously, were you mostly with the troops themselves? Were you with the company? Were you all? I mean, the company leadership. Were you always roaming around? Did you go on? What was your? I guess you would say your battle rhythm.
Yeah. So I was only with them for a few days. I'd planned to stay longer, and we'd been hanging out with the platoon. So we'd been going out in the Bradleys with them. The photographer. Rick Kozak and I had been going out just with the platoon. And I mean, I did some interviews at the company level and the battalion level, but mostly I was interested in the guys. I mean, I was enlisted, and to me, that was the compelling story. The reason I wanted to cover the military was because I wanted to show that we aren't all cogs in a machine, that we're different. And the story is really more interesting to me at the level of the service member, the 20-year-old. Why did you join? What are you doing? What's your day-to-day life? You can talk to the generals, but everybody's talking to the generals.
Of course. And they want to they want to create their legacy. And at the time, that was when General Petraeus had released his big coin manual of excellence, you want to call it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, I have heartburn with that, but that's another story.
Well, so I'd actually read that before I went over, and I went in expecting everyone to know what I was talking about. No one had read it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh no, it was a great.
Then-
It was a great document to get your next promotion and to pontificate on specific theses and strategies that go back into the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, but had nothing to do with the current state of affairs that were happening on the ground right now at that time you were at.
Well, I mean, it was thoughtful, and it was actually pretty well written considering that it was an Army document. But yeah, it just didn't get it. Yeah, it wasn't at their level, and they certainly weren't going to read it in Otomia. So
No. Well, and like you were saying, the level of understanding where it came from, it's from the generalship. Like you said, the enlisted soldier isn't going to care about, hanging out and trying to do, key leader engagements and stuff like that when they've been attacked the majority of the time and they've just lost some, people in the unit.
Right. So we were staying with them at this little tiny base called Apache, the spot, and it was on the grounds of one of Saddam Hussein's son's palaces. And it was a mess. I mean, they were living in just the worst quarters. They sewage would back up into the basement where they were living. And the guy said that it was so bad that their stuff would actually float away in the sewage in the middle of the night. It was just disgusting.
Oh.
And then, yeah, and they didn't have heat. They didn't have air conditioning. The facility, because it'd get up to 110 degrees out there. The people would come out. It was so dangerous that no one would ever come to clean out the porta potties. So they talk about the ship pyramids and how you didn't want to be, you didn't want to be in the porta john.
Nope.
When it hit a certain level, right? Because
yep.
Yeah, So
No, I know you could talk about me. We've all been there, and I know the shit streams. That was like in northeast Baghdad, Apache. And
right.
Yeah, oh my, yeah, that's shit streams, and then the shit pools at the end of the streams, which were actually the streets, and yeah. So have you connect? I mean, you said you've been talking to them for a while, and it's been 11 years.
Yeah.
Is there? I read some of the book. Is it? This is compelling. This is almost like Black Hawk Down compelling.
Yeah, I mean, they were accused of mutiny.
Yeah,
at
exactly.
The end.
Exactly. Go ahead. Tell us about that event, because I was just about ready to ask you about that.
Yeah, so while I was still in Iraq, but I was no longer with them because after June 21st, when we lost so many people, they got me out of there. They didn't want the media on this base anymore, but I was still floating around Iraq. So I got this text or a message from one of the guys saying, they're trying to send us out on patrol, and we know the road is black, and everyone's taking sleep medications, and we just all went to mental health, and we're going to stand down. We're not going. And as a platoon, this group of guys, 40 guys said, nope, we're not going on this road. We know that there's a deep buried IED. We know that someone's going to die, and we're not doing it. So they refused to go. The platoon sergeant wasn't involved in that. The messages passed back and forth between the company commander, who'd been switched out halfway through, were disconnected. There were problems there, and I never did exactly find out what the story was there. And it's there's different stories. But so they sent out another company, another Bradley, and they rolled over a deep buried IED, and it flipped over, and everybody died. And they accused my guys' second platoon of mutiny, essentially, for not going out that day. And they flagged all of their awards, their promotions. They flagged the promotions of the guys who had died on June 21st before any of this had happened.
Oh. And
just kind of mean, weird stuff at the battalion level. There was a new battalion commander, too. And yeah, so I just started hearing from these guys and just sort of a panic. And eventually all that got sorted out, and they came out with a presidential citation, and someone with big boy pants came on and said, "What are you guys doing?" And they lifted the flags and took care of it. But during those months, it was just a disaster. So, yeah, last year was the 10-year reunion, and one of the moms of one of the guys who died on June 21st, Ryan Wood's mom, Renee, had everyone come out to Oklahoma City for a pool party. And, we all stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning, drinking a lot of beer and a lot of scotch and playing volleyball and talking about how hard it is to sleep and how many people were divorced and broken up and all those things. And it was great in all of it, and horrible, all of the things you would expect it to be 10 years later. And Ryan's mom just took all of these guys in his family, and she takes care of them daily. She's amazing. The whole family, the whole group's families are just amazing. So
now you were talking about the first sergeant who this first sergeant Jeff McKinney is who you're talking about.
Yeah.
He if you got WTF Nation, if you guys don't know what the circumstances of that, he took the loss of his men personally and committed suicide in front of his men.
Right.
So
out on patrol.
And so it was a that's this unit had been, I guess you would say, it was the morale was literally was beat out of them just by every subsequent event that was happening. Did it seem like at all you wanted to say to the command, hey, what's your all's trip? What's wrong with you guys? Was there any of that? Did you I know that you said the guy said text you, but did the command say, hey, Kelly, you need to stay out of this. This is Army business or whatever?
Yeah, so I tried to make it back to Apache, and they're like, oh, you can't fly because there's a dust storm. I'm like, well, I'm already here. I already got this far, so I just need to get to Apache. No, we're not going to let you. So I was able to talk to the guys at the base that was near there, Taji, after they'd said, we're gonna make sure she can't get here. I caught a milk flight and got down. And I'd say that the command on the local level was great. And then the guys who'd kind of been switched in, there were some problems. The new company commander, I had a lot of respect for him. He just did things differently from the previous company commander. The new battalion commander, when they introduced me to him, they said, hey, tell him you were in Mogadishu and that you were in the 10th Mountain Division. And they didn't tell me anything else. So I went in and I was like, hey, sir, I was in 10th Mountain Division in Mogadishu. And he didn't say, what unit are you in? He didn't say, what did you do? Any of the things he would normally say. He just launched on this whole story about how he saved the day in Mogadishu. And I'm like, wow, I don't remember that part of the story. But it was this big ego trip. And
so it was stolen valor. I mean, if you could have tracked it down, you probably would have said, hey, you could have called him on his bullshit, right?
Well, I'm sure that whatever it was he did that day felt really important to him. But most guys who are people we like in the military stand down on that kind of stuff. They don't go bragging about their stuff. They wait. For example, Captain Baca goes to West Point and he's in charge of making sure the cadets, in charge of honor and behavior at West Point, and doesn't tell them that there's a book out about himself and that he was the commander of this unit. And I hear that story all the time about these guys.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Where someone will find out about it and they're like, hey, by the way, Captain Baca is this guy. And everyone goes, oh, crap, But he doesn't say it himself. This guy, I'm sorry?
Did you feel like dropping a copy of your book?
Oh, yeah. I said it off about it wherever I could. I'm like, hey, this guy is this guy. Read about him. Yeah. We actually talked to a class. I'm sorry?
No, I was about to say, I could imagine the looks on their face.
Yeah. I mean, I hear stories about it all the time where guys are like, oh, no one told me that this was, Kenny Hendricks, new sergeant major, was in charge of this group. So, yeah, these guys are pretty unassuming. But then I walk into this other guy's, this battalion commander's office, and I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be trouble. And he's the one who said the guys who died before any of the trouble happened were flagged. It was disgusting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, so real quick then, tell us about you. I mean, everyone's talked about the you're bringing up yourself in third person of Stolen Valor Colonels. So what's
your books are awesome.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you're
yeah.
kind of like you're a badass.
You're a badass yourself. So you started.
I've been putting on Twitter all day. You are a certified badass.
So you started your military career at 17.
Oh yeah, a lot of us do though.
Well, kind of, I don't know. But go ahead. So from 17, tell us what started. What was give us a little short brief.
What got
history.
you in the military?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to totally age myself, but I joined in 1987 when I was in high school, and I
was born. Good, awesome.
Thank you.
I wasn't in the military just yet, but yeah, we're around the same age.
87 was a great year, so it's a good year to join the
Why
army.
Why are you talking crap?
That's
man?
awesome.
It's awesome. She's only got me a year on data rank. Who cares? So go ahead.
Yeah, so I grew up in a cornfield in Indiana. My town was 5,000 people. I knew I wanted to. Sorry, that's George.
No, that's not right.
I knew I wanted to join, or I wanted to go to college, and I was the first one in my family to go to college besides my aunt. And my dad was a steel worker in the 80s near Chicago, so things weren't great financially. So I joined the Army because I thought it would pay for my school, and there were 3 of us from our class, and that's what I did. I went into the Army. It was 1987. There hadn't been any wars for a long time. I had to have my mom sign a waiver saying that it was okay for me to join, and she wanted to know if there were going to be any chaperones at basic training.
That's mom's rule.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then I joined the regular Army in high school. I was in the National Guard still. Joined the regular Army, ended up in Desert Storm in Mogadishu, which...
No, stop it. Desert Storm, don't rush through it. So you
They did. It's only 3 days.
So yeah, exactly. Actually, you're right. You can't really... Yeah, the Desert Storm was like real quick. So what were you assigned? What unit you were with in Desert Storm?
I was with 17th Signal Battalion. I was on a 5-person team on a remote... we did satellite subscription equipment, so we're the first ones to set up cell phones in a war zone.
Oh wow, the old MSC network, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That was us. We were the first ones to do it. So when the spear went in, we were sort of in the middle of the spear, like jumping ahead and setting up antennas, and jumping ahead, setting up antennas. So.
Wow, and then so you got back. Where were you? What was that unit located at? What post was it at?
That was in Germany. So McNair Kaserne, Michael Barracks in Frankfurt.
In Frankfurt,
yeah.
I was about to say, yeah. So it was near Wiesbaden. So then you got back from Desert Storm, and then what?
Mm-hmm. I was stationed at Fort Drum, feeling all badass because I had a combat patch, and man, nobody did. Nobody else did. Right?
Exactly. As a commo person too.
Right. Yeah, my ex-husband was all pissed off because he was worse too.
You start walking around. You look here, Pogue.
Exactly. Look at this Pogue.
We didn't even have that word back then. I didn't know what that meant.
So then you got to the 10th Mountain, and then that was when all of a sudden we started ramping up towards Somalia. So tell us, from you reporting to 10th Mountain, then what? What was the...
Yeah, so we went to Florida for Hurricane Andrew. That was our preparation. And then at Christmas, we went to Mogadishu. And they lost our equipment because it's the Army. And so none of our antennas or anything made it there. So we ended up pulling guard duty, like drug houses, and escorting VIPs through Mogadishu, like...
Holy shit.
Yeah, no, because that whole contingent, to include the aviation personnel with the 10th Mountain, the 12th Aviation Brigade, Task Force Ranger, they were all augmented. In other words, if you weren't part of the flying or the shooting force, you were guard duty. You were...
Yeah.
Because Mogadishu then is the same as Mogadishu now. It's a firefight every freaking day.
Well, Well, so then it was considered a humanitarian mission still. So
correct, until Farhad ID had other plans. Correct.
yes.
So
at that time,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was about to ask you. So your reaction to a humanitarian assistance with full-fledged media covering a beach landing, then what?
Yeah, we were expecting humanitarian after we looked up Somalia on the map, and when we got there, kind of knew immediately that it was different from what we were expecting. We could hear firefights in the distance every night, and I remember at some point that someone had sneaked into our compound, and he was set up in the middle of our area, like wrapped up in barbed wire, Constantine wire, which was different from what we were expecting. And at first we were all excited. We wanted to go see the city, so we'd volunteer for these missions to escort people. And then like Marines were getting knifed at corners. We had a Marine guy who was stabbed because someone wanted his sunglasses or something, some crazy thing. We didn't understand who was there or why, that it was warlords basically controlling the food supply. It wasn't starving children. We didn't see anything like that. And about the time things started getting really hairy, because we were because we were support, they sent everybody home. So before Black Hawk Down happened, my battalion had actually already been sent home. So I was in college when that happened, and I remember just standing on campus, staring at the screen, looking at streets I recognized, and bawling, just being so upset about it.
Yeah, because they were dragging our soldiers' bodies through the streets and stuff. So
yeah, just angry, and it's so young that I didn't understand what was going on at all. It ended up being one of the research papers I wrote in college was, why were we in Mogadishu? What was that about?
Funny. There's a lot of college papers being written about current conflicts we have today.
Same thing, right?
Yeah. Why are we here? Yeah. Why are we there? How come we're still in Kosovo and Bosnia when we haven't, blah blah blah, So right. So at that time, then you had transitioned from being a soldier then to a civilian. You'd already ETS'd at that point in time.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so then you decided to pick up a notepad. Is that what that was your calling to do that? It was to be a journalist?
Yeah, and it's funny because there were so few of us, so few veterans, and so few war veterans at that point that it kind of fell off my radar. Except that one of the chemists who created the pyridostigmine bromide, I always mess that way up. The way I say that up. Pills that we took, the anti-nerve agent pills, was at my school at Colorado State. And I think that's probably when I started becoming interested in covering health issues in veterans. 1 out of 4 veterans, Desert Storm veterans, are sick. And it looks like that may have played a part in it. So I was kind of covering that stuff on the side, but I was doing, cops reporting and education reporting. And then the new war started, 9/11 happened while I was in Oregon, and I went to grad school and studied Middle Eastern policy and history and more journalism. And then I started working for Army Times. I figured if I wanted to cover the military, that would be the best way to do it. Army Times, of course, was owned by Gannett at the time. It was civilian. And they let us do just some crazy stuff. I mean, we were able to do some hard-hitting reporting, and it was pretty great. We broke the Walter Reed story. We broke the burn pit story. They came out and said Rumsfeld should be fired, or should resign. They did some really great reporting, and I got lucky.
Do you think some of the reporting at the time was it purposefully incite? Was it supposed to incite the thought or incite change of just getting old Rummy out of there? I mean, because that dude is kind of, I'm just on my opinion on that one. That dude just didn't seem like to get it at all. It was almost like he was narrow-minded and looking through a straw, focused at the goal that was never going to be attained. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think that the reporters at Military Times are incredibly smart, incredibly objective, and we want to take care of our guys. So it, no matter what else is happening, we want to take care of the guy on the ground, the girl on the ground, the woman on the ground. So it didn't feel like that was happening. And I think that's where that came from. How do we keep them safe? How do we pay attention to where this is going forward? And how do we make sure that the decisions are about
correct
people?
Because that was the time when the increased use of VEBIDs and then EFPs were being used to the point where the comment of you deploy with the army that you have, not that you want. That famous comment came out of that story that you guys wrote about the lack of armored vehicles.
Yeah.
Within the military, which then we ended up started doing 18 fabrications in country.
Right.
I remember doing that.
Right.
So did it all? I mean, because the war's still going.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's not going. I don't know. Right now, sometimes it's on, sometimes it's off. The way the news cycle is and the way our policies are. But do you think at that time when we were raring to go after 9/11, was it worth it? I mean, because we are.
Was the war worth it?
Well, not saying worth it as far as because looking back, I didn't see any reason. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't support my country, but going over there and doing the I guess you would say the war fighting. It's kind of like in our job. You don't practice football if you're not going to play football.
Yeah.
But as far as a policy standard goes, the policy, following the standard of policy, not the war fighter.
Yeah. So I'm a Desert Storm vet, and I'm always going to go back to the PAL doctrine. What's the goal?
To cut off the
How
head.
do we get in and get out?
Yeah, how do we get in and get out after you cut off the head of the snake and you kill it, is what he said.
Yeah. And we didn't do that.
Yeah. Now, is it because first off, we I don't know, completely dismantled the Iraqi army.
Right. Government and
infrastructure. I was about to say there's a lot more of dismantling of its hierarchical needs that the people needed that created so much instability. You had an introduction of a new doctrine involved.
Mm-hmm.
You had two different types of sectors of fire. You had the Joint Special Operation Forces in the north doing their thing, and then you had conventional forces doing stuff on the south. And so,
right.
To me, I just thought it was a shit show from the whole point. I mean, because I being involved in both those sides, you're just like, well, why is it like this? It's so easy, but then when it comes to being in Baghdad and Sadr City, it was just I don't know. Just to me, it was just too much friction that needed to happen.
Right. Well, and why? Why were we there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, are we ever gonna know right now why we ended up going? Aside from Uday Qusay, Saddam, Fedayeen Saddam, whatever you want to throw out, whatever, Muqtada al-Sadr, because that's the new hotness that came in when he was there, which now he is currently running for office.
Right.
I think he won, didn't he?
I don't even know.
I think he won some parliamentary stake or office or something like that. But yeah, so Muqtada al-Sadr, who was the bad guy, now is.
Yeah.
So, and then at the same time, we have Afghanistan. So tell us about Afghanistan now.
Oh, yeah. So that was, I embedded with the medevac teams in Afghanistan. And oh my gosh, by the time I got there, every time I'd do an embed, they'd say, oh, good, the media's here, nothing will happen. I'd be like, oh, hell, here it comes, because every time I did embed with somebody, we got shot at, or something blew up, and so I show up in Afghanistan, and they're like, "Oh, the media's here. Nothing's happened for forever." And guys were complaining that they hadn't had any hot LZs, hot landing zones, and I thought, "Oh hell, here it goes," And so our first flight out, the photographer was like, nothing's happening. I'll let you go with the medevac team, and I'll ride in the support, the fighter helicopter while you're with them. And so, of course, we land in two hot landing zones that day. And the first one we land and, you know, it's dust off, so you can't see anything. It's just this big cloud of dust, and you can see the our guys kind of shooting off into the desert woody kind of area, and then them shooting back at us. And this bullet comes in through the helicopter like a quarter of an inch from the fuel line, ricochets around inside the helicopter, knocks out part of the ceiling, and we all look at each other and go, everyone just said, fuck.
You can cuss. You can cuss. We're not controlled by the FCC as much as they want to.
Everybody said, fuck, at the same time, including me. And then, you know, they went and they got their guy, and we got out of there. And then we landed at the hospital, and while we're unloading, we get another, you know, medevac, and land another hot LZ. And they're like, sweet, you can come with us anytime, which is kind of what I was used to hearing and kind of terrifying, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So we stayed there. The photographer, Chris Manalotti, and I stayed there for another 10 weeks, and it was a lot of the same. It must have just gotten hot when we got there. But, you know, in these embeds, I just learned so much about all the things I was covering as a medical reporter. You know, I got in Adamia, and I was like, you guys, if you go numb, you're not gonna be able to come down. You're gonna end up with combat stress, and I came out of there numb and realized that you don't control it. You know, it's just something that happens.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah, and then the medevac teams, you know, I could just see what was happening. I could see what was happening on their faces, and you know, the guys who'd been so excited about landing in a hot LZ were suddenly thinking about their own kids back home, and you know, reacting in very different ways. And yeah, it just, everything I did over there influenced everything I've done over here since. And you know, just grateful for those guys for being willing to tell me their stuff and trust me. So
you're the first combat vet that has also been a combat journalist.
Female.
Oh, I'm sorry. Female.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got Chris Shivers and TM Gibbons-Neff, and you know, there's several guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're the first female combat veteran, female combat reporter / you're also, somebody said you're a kidney donor?
Yeah.
You donated a kidney?
I didn't need it.
Oh, you needed it. Oh, okay. I was about to say, damn.
No, I said I didn't need it.
Oh, yes, you are badass. See, everyone's like talking.
Yes,
How about
a spare?
Like, oh, I got 2 of them, Sorn. Shut up. I got enough kidneys for everybody. God.
No, it was a girlfriend's dad, and you know, I love my dad, and part of it was actually because, you know, Ross McGinnis and going over to Iraq to tell a story, and obviously part of me wanting to tell the story was making sure that these guys get what they need, but also I risked my life for a story, you know. So coming back and being able to do something real felt necessary and really good. And at about the same time, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and we lost him. Yeah,
Sorry
last
to hear about
year.
that.
Yeah, but you know, he got to see me donate a kidney to someone else's dad, so he knew. You know,
that's awesome.
That's badass. Dads are good.
Yeah, they're awesome. And you're badass for donating a kidney. Holy cow! Damn.
That is so awesome.
Oh man.
I was asleep. I would highly recommend it. It was really one of the best days of my life. It just felt so good.
I bet. Oh man.
So you're also working on some new stuff. It says that you're rewriting your first novel as well. You're working on a nonfiction book about the Civil War. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I'm a big Civil War history junkie, so like I saw that, I was like, well, I'm asking about that.
Well, I don't want to go into too much detail on that, but I'll say that it involves medicine and Georgetown, which was divided between, you know, Georgetown in D.C. was the sesh, and D.C. itself was, you know, the first place to emancipate, and very, very much northern. And so you've got this place that had been sort of supporting the government employees for DC at the beginning and had become the bad guys. So it talks about that, but then also the medical community in Georgetown. There are a lot of hospitals here, and so yeah, that's where I'm going with that. I think still working on it.
And that's a crazy subject. I tell my wife all the time that we've advanced so much that the basic trained soldier in medical, you not even CLS is the equivalent to a World War II medic doctor, and to think how far we've come from the Civil War, where it's just like, well, you got a bullet wound, cut the leg off. Oh, your arm's gone, cut the arm off. Like that's a cool subject, because it was very from at least every book and documentary that I get my hands on is very you get a scratch, you're SOL. Right, or a cold. A chew. Oh crap. Yeah, you're going down. So, what was it like working for USA Today? I worked with such incredibly smart, good people there. I really loved working there. I missed being able to tell stories in big ways, and I was also covering health policy, so it was completely different. I got to do some veteran stuff, which I enjoyed, and which I can't help. That kind of keeps seeping out somehow. But I mean, it was nice to be able to call someone and say, hey, this is so and so from USA Today. Please give me an answer, and they would. Army Times, they didn't always. Like, they kind of blow you off sometimes. Yeah, USA Today, they kind of have a little bit of backing. Right. Yeah, a little bit of a reputation. To me, it ends up on the front page the next day. So, I worked with really good people. Some of my best friends still work there. So, I just started freelancing for At War. For the New York Times, so I'm looking forward to doing some more veteran stuff there. Yeah. Well, you're gonna have to let us know when you got an article coming out, so we can, pump through our channels, because that's awesome. Oh, cool. Thanks. And I'm looking through your bio. You've had such a long and dynamic career, from for being in the Army to working on these two big books, to writing a nonfiction about Civil War, rewriting your first novel, working for USA Today, combat in the military and as a civilian. I mean, how do you find the time to do all this stuff? Oh, I mean, one at a time, right? Like, it wasn't all at once. I was looking up, like, I've had a decade of public affairs for Army and civilian now, and I'm like, I haven't done any of this. Oh, but you've got your stories. That's silly. I try to be. I mean, but what? I guess for all the for the aspiring writers and public affairs people, do you have any kind of advice do you give them for staying current and what's going on? Because you've always seemed to find something, the next thing to move towards. A lot of it's always seems to focus around mostly around in the military and veterans, which is awesome. What do you give advice to other people like you that are inspiring writers in the military about getting out and, writing in the civilian world? Yeah, I think so. When we did the Walter Reed story, I thought, man, I'm never gonna have another story like that again. And then they sent me to Iraq, and I came out of there and thought, man, I'm never gonna have another story like that again. And then we broke the burn pit story, and I thought, man, I'm never gonna have a story like that again. And I mean, at some point, you hope not to have stories like that again. But I think if you just be ethical, work hard. There's no reason to drag other people down to move up or any of that nonsense. You just do your thing and keep at it. And people will essentially hand you stuff because they trust you, and they know you'll do the work. And I mean, so the burn pit story. A lot of reporters saw the burn pits. A lot of reporters were told this is a bad thing. And a lot of reporters said, well, it's so obvious. It's 240 tons of trash in an open pit. If it were a problem, wouldn't someone have reported on it? Well, if you're questioning it,
then, and you've been in the military, and you're thinking, gosh, I remember what it was like when I served. Of course, they're doing something like that.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really
pay attention to your gut.
Exactly. You can't really hide from that. Like, no shit. It's like there's burning toxic fumes in there that you would never burn in the States.
Right.
And they're telling you to burn it, and then they're like, maybe you should report that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Right. Right.
I think the best thing is that these are all stories. The Fight Like a Girl, the unit you were with in Iraq, the burn. These are all stories that, they're not necessarily, great stories because, a lot of bad stuff happened, but they're stories that need to be told. And I think it's great that, they've had an author like you to be able to tell those stories and get the information out. I'm partial to my veterans and everything, but the Gulf War illness and burn pits. I remember being around, the Kandahar, the Pupan, and some of the burn pits in southern Afghanistan. They were horrible, but it's, but I took it as, okay, it's the Army. I'm just gonna have to, keep going. So it's great that you've been able to actually tell these stories.
Well, and glad too. I mean, like I said about the Army Times reporters, the Military Times reporters, you're our guys. Like that's the truth of it. Is how do we fix this?
Have you been back to Africa since Mogadishu? Have you covered anything in Africa?
I haven't, and I want to. I'd love to go back there. Yeah.
Well, then you better get on the stick because we're waiting. I'm just kidding.
I know.
No, because Africa has been. That's my experience. My deployment time has actually been not Afghanistan and all Iraq and all Africa. So that's been my experience. And so it's really hard to hear when I hear somebody, oh, have you been to Mogadishu? Oh, have you been this? Oh, but you haven't been in Africa. Okay, well then next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
You should check out, go to Djibouti, go to Camp Lemonnier, and go hang out with the guys out there.
I just want to go to Djibouti so I can say the word.
Djibouti? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've never been to Djibouti until you've been in Djibouti City. And that's when you've been to Djibouti. But
I'll put it on my list.
Great pizza there. But the thing is, they have a listening station just right outside the gate. But no, it's just interesting because it's a continent that people seem to forget that it's a continent. They seem to think that Africa is a country and everybody else is a bunch of states in between, which varies between 54 to 51 countries at one time. So you never know what country is fallen and what countries. So yeah, I was just wondering. It was out of curiosity. Have you been back to Africa?
No. Well, no. After I went to USA Today, I wasn't really traveling to do military stuff anymore. So.
Did they not let you do it, or was it because of preference, or what was the?
It just wasn't my beat anymore. It was. I mean, I covered health policy. I was covering the Affordable Care Act, and at the time, that was so crazy that we were writing 3 stories a day about that. The idea of sending me off to cover.
So let me ask this: that you've covered it, because I mean the ACA has been to me just kind of like an anomaly / maybe I get into it if I hear somebody complaining about it or some sort of taxes or whatever you want to talk about. But medicinal marijuana.
They should be looking into it. I mean, if there's possible help there, then they should be researching it. And it's troubling that we're so caught up in these ideas of the drug war that we
almost a Puritan / freaking prudish method of medicine. I'm sorry. We're big advocates of the use of medicinal marijuana here. So we always like ask a reporter that has covered the medical field, or at least covered that. Did the ACA have that injected, or have a plan at least for that type of treatment?
I don't recall that being a part of it at all. But I mean, I think it's like anything else. I don't know if there's a yes or a no answer as far as whether it should be used, but it should certainly be researched. And I think that if you've got someplace like VA, the federal government that's saying, you can't get help if you're using it, or you can't get medicinal marijuana because we're the federal government, then that seems silly. I mean, it seems like a way to save money if guys are saying, or feel like, or the research shows that it's, helpful, that seems better than a lot of the options we have now. So yeah, let's look into it. Let's figure it out. Let's not be afraid of it. I mean, we're looking at ecstasy, but we're not going to look at pot. That doesn't make sense.
That was about this. That was going to be my next thing too. Is like we're looking at stuff that is so way out there. They would rather look into Viagra than look into medicinal marijuana, and that's to me it's just heartening. So that it fuels. It almost seems like, and it goes back to the Afghanistan question. It almost seems like we're wanting to fuel the opioid epidemic because back in the day when we were coming up in the Army, Kelly, opioids wasn't a big issue. It wasn't a hot button topic amongst veterans or soldiers at all.
No.
Now and as soon as Afghanistan kicked off, all of a sudden, you saw the movie War Machine with Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
You got to see it. They're making fun of Stan McChrystal and why aren't we providing subsidies for the Afghans for cotton and why are we doing poppies because American pharma. So it's you got to watch it. It's pretty interesting. But
yeah,
for some reason, we're talking about cultivating a new relationship with Afghanistan in the Taliban now, to where now all of a sudden we have an opioid epidemic that's coincidentally happening at the same time. I'm just ranting about that right now, but.
No, I mean, I think they're just looking for any way out.
Way out of Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Do you think there's any? I can go on all night about this subject. Afghanistan just pisses me off.
Yeah, I mean, just the news of the last couple of days about the peace accord falling apart.
Yeah, exactly. And then they get back for Eid al-Fitr and everything's going good, and then there's a discussion of having a ceasefire, but not a ceasefire, only against terror targets. Well, hello, that's not a ceasefire then.
Right.
So, but anyhow.
It's frustrating.
So, Kelly, thank you so much for coming on. We totally appreciate
you for having me.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what,
you're awesome.
Yeah, but you're a badass. You're more than welcome to come back.
You guys are badass.
Anytime you want.
Anytime you want, because me and Flash were fangirling over this shit. We're like, oh my god, she's coming on. She's a badass, dude. And then, did you know that she did this? No fucking way. Yeah, man. And as soon as I saw the kidney thing, I'm like, she donated a kidney, dude. What am I gonna freaking? How can I go back to that? How can I go back to that? Shut up, Pogue. I donated a kidney. Oh, never mind. You know what I mean? You can't. So again, Kelly, thanks for coming on. And
thank you for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to always come back and and shoot the shit about the Space Force because Space Force. We're more than happy to talk about that too. So thank you so much.
With Africa.
In Africa, Space Force in Africa. So.
Space Force in Africa.
All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks a lot, Kelly, for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
All right, we're gonna take a break right now, and then we'll have now that we're finished with Kelly Kennedy. Here's Tim Kennedy.
Good evening, boys and girls. This is Tim Kennedy. I'm a Special Forces sniper, a Ranger qualified Green Beret, a UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We will be sexist. We will offend you. But there will be magic, and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.
See it every day as I work and I sleep the day away. Like you I have pain and like you I have fear. Can I pay all of the bills and still make it through the year? While I make it home alive, should I pray to the sky every day and every night? Will I hold you by my side? But in the public eye, I don't even have a heart. A robot of the system moving only when I'm told to start. Rip apart my art, I'm strong like a flower blooming. You got it all wrong, I know I'm breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
Call me a vet like a soldier. Green Beret, 21 gun salute, don't wanna see the day. In the constant war zone, in the home of the brave, where they hate the police until they saving the day. I got kids like you, a mortgage like you, so blue lives matter, and so does yours too. All this separation and divide, open your eyes. If you cut us all open, we the same inside. The only difference is I run to the gunfight. Get peace when it's chaos, when the people don't act right. But I'm under scrutiny for trying to protect me. You pull a pistol and I'm shooting for trying to contest me. I got a quick second to make a deadly decision. The media betray me like a kid for a living, like I'm cold with no heart, a brain with no thoughts, a body with no feeling, a life with no cause.
Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. I'm damned if I do, and damned if I don't. It's like every single time I say what's on my mind, they go for my throat, they spew evil words. If you are absurd, always grinding, grinning, and killing my soul with these verbs. Hold me down, like I can't gasp for air. I'm closed inside of a box, like I'm inside Fort Knox. Every time that I'm there, I don't know why they think that I'm different from you. All that's true is I'm a like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
Hungry for another taste. You stumble around the time you waste, and your table's overturned. Sooner or later you crash, then you burn. I think I wanna die tomorrow. And are you gonna be with me? I think I wanna die tomorrow, 'cause I'm out of time and I'm out of my mind. Simple ways come and go. Still I love the way you turn me on. But I just can't find the words, 'cause everything I say sounds so absurd. I think I wanna die tomorrow. Tired of being with me. I think I wanna die tomorrow. 'Cause I'm out of time
bitches, they love visuals.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back. Part 3 of the Monday edition. Pogues in Space. Space Force. Oh, man.
Did you really just redo Pigs in Space to Pogues in Space?
Yes, I did. Yes,
that
I did.
is awesome. I've been sitting here going, man, we've gone through so many different space-themed everything, and you went to one of my favorite. I'll tell you what, when I was in Afghanistan, especially when I first got there, and I've never really. I was an individual augmentee. I was by myself. I just got to this unit of ragtag. Everyone else has just been thrown together with AFN, and I found this hard drive, which is a scary thought by itself. But it had a bunch of movies, and it had all 4 or 5 seasons of the Muppet Show. And I remember I used to love the skit from Pigs in Space. So thank you, because that's what we're gonna call the fat guys at Joy Space Force.
No, wait, dude. Because you don't have to worry about fucking height and weight.
There's no 2-mile run.
There's no 2-mile run in Space Force.
It's a 2-mile float.
Yeah. And you can't really say ready to fight tonight because it's always night. So you have to have a new... God, exactly. Yeah, how are you going to... Yeah, well, exactly. What if you have intergalactic dependas? Man, my divorce is going to be fucking interesting.
You'll be the first person with a
I'll be the first
alien wife.
Yeah, I'll be exactly. I'll be the first divorce from an alien spouse. It says right here, Ice, you didn't make your court appointment. Well, it's on Nebulon 6. I'm not gonna fucking go there. You wouldn't give me a pass. What the hell? It's funny because now you can just start throwing galaxy shits. Hey, look, it takes fucking forever. Hey, she showed up.
Zoltar.
Yeah, exactly. she showed up first, and then the next thing you know, she fucking then she took off. She left me with her little
So then you're stuck with all that child support.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, exactly that. Single dad's rights. What's up with that shit? Galactic alimony. It's gonna be a bitch. I couldn't even imagine paying that. And what type of currency do they have? We might end up just fucking pissing them off, and there you go. Way to go, Ice, ruining freaking intergalactic peace. By having, you're gonna have the first intergalactic divorce. But ex-wife number 18 over that. So.
Hold on. Say Space Force.
Hi, Space Force.
Oh, dude.
I'm preparing Baby Flash for to join the Space Force.
Oh, dude, man.
He'll be the the second Flash to be a PAO, and the second Flash to be a Space Force PAO.
Oh, Space Force. That's right, Baby Flash. It's awesome. I was gonna say Baby Ice. MPs in space. Pigs in space.
Do you realize how fast you were floating?
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, you were going to warp, you're exceeding,
and it's going to be kilometers. Now, here's the thing. We're going to have to get used to. Even everything else is in metric. So even more, you're not going by miles an hour, unless you're, because a lot of it to be international. We have to do, who else would have a Space Force? I mean, China doesn't have a Space Force. They have nothing in space, do they? They have no...
No, but guarantee within the next, I would say, I would say within the next year, you're going to see a couple more superpowers, if anyone uses that term anymore. Some of the bigger countries start coming up with saying, coming out with, it'll be the new generation space race. Guarantee Russia will come out and say, "Oh, we've already been working on Space Force.
Cosmonauts has always been
We've been doing this for years. U.S. is always behind.
We've been
China will come up with something.
Yeah, exactly.
Japan's gonna be like, hell yeah, well, let's get this party started. Germans will be like, ah.
And the last time we did rockets, you guys did not like this.
That wasn't good. The English is like, well, they need tea and Mars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tea and crumpets.
The English will make a Space Force.
Yes.
Greatest Space Force ever. That was the French. That's all they're going to say. in space.
Yeah, the Russians would be like, we've been astronauts in the atmosphere all the time for decades. Wow.
They've all carried weapons.
Exactly.
We've sent bears.
Yeah,
bears
and dogs. We like dogs. We send dogs in space. But no, I'm just thinking about the possibilities are endless. Couldn't even imagine. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna have to. The Gamma Quadrant should be our next broadcast location. We're gonna have to do. Let's see. It can't be. It's got to be somewhat real because obviously space is, it's in our reality. So the Pentagon, Area 51, and the Alamo. We got another location about ready to pop out, and we got two more. So we had two of them then. So we'd have to have one in space, and we have to have another one. They are real in our history, and they're real in our legends, I guess you'd say. But we can't just it's Alderaan. You can't say some shit like that, or Dagobah, or Creighton, Naboo. It's stupid. It has to be real shit. It has to be whatever. So, anyways, so on the sports page, did you said you were gonna go on an international flavor tonight?
Yeah, so for all you uncivilized swines out there, the world has been going on with one of the greatest. I won't say one of the greatest sports because I'm a huge baseball fan, and the Yankees beat the Nationals today, in a makeup game, and we lost our suspended game. They had a game suspended back in April in the 6th inning, tied 3-3. Unfortunately, the Yankees lost that, but we won the makeup today, so yay. But outside of baseball, one thing I've started getting to ever since my cousin from Germany came over is soccer, or for everyone else, it's football. But the World Cup, the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia, weirdly enough, Russia has been going on for the last about a week or so. Last Thursday was the first match. It was the start. This is really cool. On a side note, the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, in a triple bid, actually won the rights to host the World Cup in 2026. So yes, it is a bit a ways, but it is awesome because it's the first time Canada's ever hosted a World Cup.
But it's with us. It's Canada, U.S., and Mexico considered hosting it, right? Or is it just?
Yep. It's
a joint venture.
It's a joint venture. We've held it. This will be the second time we've hosted it. This will be I think it's second or third time Mexico's held it, and the first time Canada. But it will be the majority of games will be played in the U.S. They've already plotted out a lot of areas. The finale will end up being in MetLife Stadium, home of the Giants in New Jersey. But there'll be 10. I think it's 10 games in Canada, 10 games in Mexico, and 22 in the U.S. It'll be a joint venture. I believe they beat Morocco for this opportunity. Morocco was kind of hoping that they're being close to Europe and everything, making it easier for a lot of these, European countries to come in would have been a selling point for them. But the U.S., Canada, and Mexico had existing infrastructure, something on the tunes of bringing in about $1.2 billion to FIFA. So they were able to win. So, hey, go USA. Because we're not in the World Cup, so that kind of sucks. So you see a lot of people, a lot of soldiers, especially going for their former nationality. I'm a German fan, but we'll get into that. So on last Thursday, Russia kicked it off. Usually the host country will play the first match. So what they do is we're in group stages. They have groups like A through F, and it's 4 teams in each group. It's a round robin. The top 2 teams from there will move on for the single elimination knockout rounds, and they go down to the final. So group stages are really cool because you get 3 points for winning a match, you get 1 point for tying, you get no points for losing, and you also, the goals you get will matter. So if you tied in points, whoever has the most goals will get the higher seed. So every game is important, especially we'll get into some of this. So first off, Russia played Saudi Arabia and murdered Saudi Arabia. It was ugly. They scored 2 before the first half, and then they scored 2 in overtime minutes. Saudi Arabia looked like they need to go back to Saudi Arabia. Other notes, on Friday, Uruguay beat Egypt 1-0. Morocco was beat by Iran 1-0. And Portugal and Spain, this was a huge, huge game. You're looking at Ronaldo, who had a hat trick. Scored three goals.
Now, what's a hat trick? What's a hat trick in soccer? What is that?
Same thing as anything else. So you score 3 goals.
Okay.
Same thing as hockey.
Gotcha.
Scoring 3.
Okay.
But I mean, it's he actually Ronaldo passed Donovan from the U.S. for having the most World Cup goals, which is pretty awesome. But Portugal and Spain in a great match tied it up, and a lot of people were pretty shocked. They thought Spain was going to take take this one, but it was a really tight game. It was a lot of goals scored. It was a lot of fun. Saturday, France beat Australia 2-1.
Wow, that's
Argentina, in Iceland's first ever appearance in the World Cup, tied Argentina 1-1. Argentina coming in as the super favorites in this matchup. But Iceland, who literally something like they brought in like 30% of their country's people to come and root for them because they have nobody. Iceland's a small country. But Iceland, yeah, they tied Argentina. It was really tight. There were some very near misses, but honestly, Argentina they didn't lose, they tied, and still people in Argentina feel that's a loss because this is Iceland's first ever World Cup ever. So they kind of made World Cup history with that one. Denmark beat Peru 1-0, and Croatia beat Nigeria 2-0 to finish out that's Group D and C on Saturday. On Sunday, Serbia beat Costa Rica. No one actually gives Serbia a chance in anything, but beating Costa Rica was pretty significant. Now, here is one of the more notable things. Germany is the former World Cup champion. They beat Brazil in the last World Cup. It was a great matchup. I was able to watch that one. They got beat by Mexico. Germany was a super favorite. But
sorry.
Yeah, that kind of hurt a bit because all my friends that are supporting the Mexican team / they're Mexican, they were having a great time. So much so the celebrations in Mexico City actually created a artificial earthquake from all the jumping.
I heard about that. That they
like
had,
legitimate seismic
counters. Yeah, we're going off. Wow.
So unfortunately for Germany, they lost this match, but they still have 3 more. It's you only have to be in the top 2 to move out of the group stage. So Germany no one's really afraid that Germany's not going to be able to make it out. But still, losing to Mexico is losing to Mexico. It was a tight game, but Germany just didn't have it going. Many actual championship teams have not made it out. Have not won their first round and not even made it out of the group stages. So hopefully Germany doesn't continue that trend because go Deutschland. Brazil in another weird game. Brazil tied Switzerland 1-1. This was a tight one. Let's see. The matches came the scores came at 20 minutes and 50 minutes. So there was still a lot of gameplay in between for those two goals. A lot of people thought Brazil was going to run away with that, but Switzerland, hey, they got the watches and the chocolate and stuff, so they're good. On Monday, I actually got to watch Sweden. Sweden and South Korea went at it. Sweden beat South Korea 1-0. Belgium beat Panama 3-0. Spanked them, just absolutely spanked them. Now, England hasn't won an opening, and the last game of today, England against Tunisia. England hasn't won their opening World Cup match ever, but they were able to beat Tunisia 2-1. England with this scored first. Tunisia was able to tie it up after England making a horrible penalty inside of the goalie box, where you get a free kick, and they were able to take a free kick from there. And then in the last 2 minutes of the match, England with a header scored the goal. Coming up tomorrow, Colombia plays Japan at 8 a.m. Poland plays Senegal at 11, and Russia plays Egypt at 2 o'clock. You can watch those on Telemundo or Fox or FS1. They're playing on there. I'm lucky enough to have the Xfinity app that my parents gave me the password for. So I'm able to have that playing while I'm watching. So hopefully next week I will give you another update. But we're gonna be group rounds for at least another week and a half or so. But we got matches every day. World Cup is it's pretty cool if you actually watch it, especially if you ever get a chance to go to these matches. Hopefully in 2026, if you're in the U.S., you'll take the opportunity to try to watch one. They're crazy. Like I wish. It's sad that the U.S. couldn't even make the team because we had all the chances in the world, but we didn't. So moving on from soccer, unfortunately, and my favorite time of the year when you have basketball, hockey, and baseball all in the same time. So there's always something to watch. Is over.
Yeah. So we have what the Stanley Cup is done. Then we have
Stanley Cup is done. I was actually able to go to the parade for the Washington Capitals as they were going through, and I love it because when Donald Trump got elected and they showed the inauguration photo and then they go, oh, well, this is Obama's photo.
God.
Tell you what, neither one of those had anything on the turnout for the Washington Capitals.
Yeah, I just really hate how people's really. Yeah. Anyways.
Don't even worry about that.
Yeah, I don't even sweat it.
It was not only were the streets on Constitution Avenue full. I was lucky enough. My office is decently close enough to the start, so I didn't want to go with the huge crowd. So I was able to get into the start of everything and watch everyone go by and watch Ovechkin hold up the Stanley Cup. It was awesome. I even got some Capital swag. I'm a Rangers fan, but I will support the home team, so it was kind of cool seeing them win. First win since 1991. And for the DC teams, and first win ever for the Washington Capitals. So that's over with. A note on that: the Capitals head coach resigned today.
Ouch! For what? Yeah, I heard about that. What happened?
I haven't been able to get into that quite yet. He submitted his letter of resignation. No one thinks that. So far, what I was able to see was there was nothing behind it other than going out on a winning note. Kind of the same way Michael Strahan with the Giants when they beat the Patriots. He still had people thought he still had at least 3 or 4 more years of good, or at least 2 to 3 of good football playing in him. But he decided to go on a high note, which I completely understand. So the Capitals will be looking for a new head coach. In the NBA, yes, everyone's now worrying about where will LeBron James go.
Oh my God! Do you know who won? Do you know who won? Do you know who beat them? Does anybody know who beat them?
Golden State Warriors
exactly
are reigning champions and are looking to do the same things because LeBron James might be trying to do the same super team as they have over there.
Yeah, but he is going to do the same thing he did with this team. He's going to ostracize them and they're going to suck. So that's the whole point. Hey, look, Cavs, you lost. You done. You lost. Let's celebrate the Golden State Warriors and their championship game and let them have a parade. You know what I mean? I don't get why everyone's wrapped their head around this guy thinking that don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's not a bad player. I've never seen such adulation over a losing team and the coach. I mean,
well,
and fucking player.
LeBron James isn't really going to be much of a factor. Kyrie Leonard from the San Antonio Spurs, they've had a big falling out in the last year. They had a meeting. He's pretty much their star. He's their star player. Took over after Kevin Duncan, retired. They had a big meeting. A lot of people thought they were going to clear up a lot of stuff. It turns out that meeting didn't go so well. Kyrie Leonard has adamantly requested a trade, and it looks like the Celtics that had a really good run in the playoffs had a very young team, a very young and young, fast. They played really well, but a very young team. Looks like they are working to get Kyrie Leonard to the Celtics, which could change the East for a while because it won't be the days of the big three, but you're going to have a really young team and a leader in Kyrie Leonard if they can make that trade happen, which means no matter where LeBron goes, he's going to have to compete with a even better Celtics team in the East. So that's all the basketball news for now. Everyone is still in where will LeBron go? Will he end up in LA? Will he end up Celtics?
Who cares?
I agree. I completely I don't care, but it will change the dynamic for wherever he goes.
He's going to ostracize his teammates and fucking, you know what I mean? He just, when he went to the Cavs, it just seemed like he deflated that team. That's just me, my perception of it. It just seemed like he deflated them.
Well, they put, besides J.R. Smith, coming from the Knicks, he was a decent piece in the Knicks. He was the pretty much the ball boy for LeBron and the Cavs. And then Kevin Love, who played a lot of years with the Timberwolves, just can't seem to stay healthy. They didn't put a good team around him, and he wants to, he wants to be Jordan and get the ball all the time, and he's just, no one even know. I don't even know the rest of the team. Like, I can name a bunch of players on the Golden State Warriors. I can't for the Cavaliers. So, the Cavs just thought like LeBron could do it all himself, so they tried to let him do it, and unfortunately, he's 3-6 in the finals. So, well, if anything big comes up in the NBA, you'll hear, I will tell you. So, moving on to baseball, it's been another great week of baseball. We're going to start in the National League. Atlanta Braves have started to get some separation as they are leading the NL East. They're leading the Washington Nationals by 3.5 games. Washington Nationals took a loss today. They got a win from April, but they took a loss today with the makeup game with the Yankees. Philadelphia, so they're behind 3.5 games. Philadelphia Phillies are behind 4, and then the Mets and Marlins are not even worth mentioning. They're way behind. Chicago Cubs in the Central are tied with the Milwaukee Brewers, both of them sporting a 5.88 win percentage. The St. Louis Cardinals only 3.5 games behind. Pittsburgh Pirates are 6, and then Cincinnati Reds not even in the running anymore. Expect the Cincinnati Reds to be dealing just like the New York Mets come mid-July when the trade deadline comes up. In the West, Arizona Diamondbacks are leading the Los Angeles Dodgers by 1.5 games. San Francisco Giants are 4.5 back. Colorado Rockies are 5, and San Diego Padres are staying in the mix with 6.5. The only big thing about that is outside of the top 2 teams, while they are within 6.5 games from the leader, they are the bottom 3 are all below 500. It says something about the West, and it says something about the NL. They're not having a great run of it like their counterparts over in the American League. In the West, the Houston Astros are sporting an 11-game win streak as of right now, with 48 wins, 25 losses. They're leading the Seattle Mariners, who did damage to the Boston Red Sox over the weekend. They're behind 1.5 games. Los Angeles Angels are starting to lose their win. They're back 9.5 games. Oakland Athletics 11.5 back, and then Texas Rangers are 19 games back at 29-44.
Damn.
They do have a 2-game winning streak. That's
Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah. Bonus, yeah, we're rocking now. Woo! I'm there. Man.
Texas Rangers are really not having a great season.
Okay, what about the Dodgers?
The Dodgers. The Dodgers they're 37-33. They're expecting to be buyers come the trade deadline. They're looking for. They've had some starting pitcher issues. So they're looking to try to pick up one of the awesome starting pitchers. Texas Rangers and even Oakland Athletics, even though they're only 11.5 back and anything can change. But the way Houston Astros are playing, they keep this up, they're gonna take the West, and Seattle Mariners are gonna be fighting for the one of the 2 wild card spots. So expect Oakland Athletics and Texas Rangers to be dealing this July. Remember, Los Angeles Angels are also dealing with the loss of their brand new superstar rookie, the dual threat pitcher and hitter. He went down and is going to be out for the rest of the season. So they're going to hope they get him back by next spring training. But that did put some, that's a lot of money you've got sitting on the bench now. But that's what you get. We had the same. The Yankees had the same problem with Tanaka when he had Tommy John surgery after his first season. So you just take that. In the Central, Cleveland Indians are leading the Detroit Tigers in the division by 2.5 games. Minnesota Twins are staying relevant, back 5. But then the Chicago White Sox are 13 back. And then the Kansas City Royals, the 2015 World Series champions, are 15.5 games back, sporting a horrible 6-game losing streak. Ouchies.
What about the Royals?
Yeah, they're just 22-49. They want to be dealers, but they don't really have the pieces to. They're working on their farm system, but they do have one of the better farm systems. There's none of the people they have are ready to go. That is the problem. Next year could be a totally different story for them, but this year they have the same amount of wins as the Yankees have losses. New York Yankees are actually tied. Yeah, I know that hurt reading that. Yeah. Oh man. Yankees sporting the best record with a 0.681 win percentage, 47 wins, 22 losses. are tied right now with Boston Red Sox with 49 wins, 24 losses. If you're wondering why there's a little difference, the Yankees had a string of rainouts in the early part of May that has messed two of the games with the suspended game and the game today against the Washington Nationals. We still have a bunch against Detroit that need to be made up. So that's why there is the win difference, 47-22 and 49-24. But the New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox right now are tied, both sporting one-game win streaks. The Tampa Bay Rays are, well, I would put it this way. The East is between the Yankees and Red Sox. Everyone else is even worse in outside of those two. Tampa Bay Rays are down 15 games back of those two. They lost 3 out of 4 against the Yankees.
Yeah,
they were able to,
but it's the Rays. It's the Yankee. The Rays are the Yankees' sparring partner, I guess you'd say.
Well, the Tampa Bay Rays are expected to be sellers. They have 2 pitchers, Chris Archer and I think it's Brian Snell. He's a up-and-coming pitcher, kind of the same way as Sonny Gray. The Yankees are expecting to be looking to the Brian Cashman and baby son Steinberg have come out and said that they will be putting in a new starting pitcher in the rotation. They will be searching for someone, so expect the Yankees to be big buyers. They believe that Jay Happ from the Toronto Blue Jays, that are back 15 games also, is their target. But Tampa Bay Rays have Chris Archer, who's pretty good. It's just they don't have the run scoring potential. I'll put it this way: Yankees have 363 runs scored this year. Tampa Bay has 280. Big difference. And then the Baltimore Orioles, and I remember I saw Cal Ripken second to last game. I've always liked the Orioles. I love Camden Yards. It's one of my favorite ballparks. To see the Baltimore Orioles the way they are today is horrific. They have less wins than the Yankees have losses. They're at 20-50. They play 70 games. They are 20-50. I don't remember the last time I've seen a team, and I believe they're the. Let me double check. They're the only team with 50 losses. Granted, Kansas City Royals are 1 game away from that, but still 20-50. They have a .286 win percentage. They are 9-27 away. They're 11-23 at home. There's no saving grace. You know, you find most teams, you'll find they do better at home than they are away. It doesn't matter. The Baltimore Orioles suck either which way, which doesn't do them any good because they're hoping, come this offseason, their star, the rookie that came up through their farm system, Manny Machado, is going to be on the free agency. Now, a lot of people are hoping that Manny Machado will give them the hometown discount, will want to stay with the Baltimore Orioles. But there is a lot of speculation that, it's not speculation. The way the Baltimore Orioles are playing now and what they have set up for the future, Manny Machado will be leaving the Baltimore Orioles, whether in a trade. They're wondering if they're going to try to deal Manny Machado now and just, instead of suffering the heartbreak later, trade him away now to a team that really needs him, which there's quite a few that could use a great third baseman and then get a bunch of prospects in return, or if they will, or they might be asking too high of a price tag. Either which way, Manny Machado will be signing with a new team. A lot of speculation whether the New York Yankees would be one of the destinations, along with the Detroit Tigers and the Seattle Mariners. The Yankees, I can tell you right now, we have so many rookies right now that we're gonna have to deal with some of these awesome prospects we got going, because we just have no way to get them into there's no path to the major league with them. Same thing with Bryce Harper. The Nationals, who are, they're in the thick of things in the NL East, even though they've fallen 3.5 games back from the Braves. Braves, surprising 42-29 this year. Honestly, no one really thought they had it, but they had a bunch of prospects they were bringing up. Acuna, and there's the other one. They actually had a perfect game through 6 innings the night before last. So they're making some magic, but unless a lot of people think unless the Nationals make either a deep run in the playoffs, that the golden boy Bryce Harper will no longer be a Washington National. There is again speculation because the New York Yankees are trying to get right now below the threshold for the royalty tax, which would drop the bracket that they would pay from, I think it's like 20% down to like 12, which is a big difference in prices. which means you might not see them go after for training for like Manny Machado. But in the offseason, if they drop down, they're going to have plenty of money where you could possibly see a Stanton, Judge, and Harper outfield. As a Yankee fan, as a Yankee follower, I'm going to say that's not going to happen. We got too much homegrown talent to want to bring Bryce Harper in. But we're looking right now. If you're looking at the wild card standings,
you all right?
I could fill 3 hours of just baseball, but I'm not trying to.
Everyone's talking about go Browns.
They're right now. They're predicting that the New York Yankees are actually they're on pace to win 112 games this year. Boston Red Sox are on pace to win, I believe it's 108 or 109. This would be the first time in like 9 or 10 years that a 100 plus win game, 100 game win team has had to play a 1 game playoff. Well, I guess they didn't have that 10 years ago. So it'd be first time in a long time that somebody who's won 100 games is going to be in the wild card. And right now that you're looking at either the Boston Red Sox or New York Yankees, you're going to have to play that 1 game. Right now it would be against the Seattle Mariners, who are up on the Los Angeles Angels by 8 games. Oakland Athletics are down by 10. Detroit Tigers 10.5, and then 12 and to 25 is the rest of the league. So expect, the division leaders are really starting to, pull ahead, and you're seeing that now. What's going to be more interesting is who's going to take those top 2 wild card spots. But we are in middle of June. There's a lot of baseball to play. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, this is when they get baseball fatigue. The beginning parts of the season is over, April and May. June, July, and usually the beginning of August is when people, are like, holy crap, is baseball still going on? But,
in other words, and I think people will start paying attention more when it starts getting closer to the
when you get to the end of August and September,
that's when it starts.
That's where baseball pops are like, oh shit, we're playing. Hell yeah,
playoff time, exactly. So you're starting to see who's starting to bubble to the top, and then that's when you because before, like you were saying, halfway through, like some of these streaks that you see, some of these usually get turned around. Now, granted, there's a couple of ones that won't get turned around, but there'll be some that'll come to the top, and then you'll say, oh shit, I didn't realize they were able to pull it out. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't pay attention to the baseball gig until towards about July, August time frame.
And most people do, especially around the August, September is when I hate when they say, oh, in September the games matter. It's like, no, the games matter all year, but they matter more when you realize either how much of a hole or how much ahead you are.
Correct.
When it comes, so there's a lot of baseball action to happen. The next big, there's a lot of big series coming up. A lot of these big teams, the big high wing teams, are going to be going at it in the next couple of weeks. But when you get close to the trade deadline, you're going to see a lot of action. A lot of teams that are at the very bottom will be dealing. Especially there's Boston Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Yankees and a couple other teams have really deep farm systems right now. Expect them to start moving out some players to some of these other teams in order to get the players to win today. So that's the next big thing we're looking at for baseball. Football, we're almost there. So a lot of teams have already been doing their mini camps.
Still won't watch.
I know you won't.
I still won't watch because, again, they're rolling right back into the whining thing again. And now because, you were talking about mini camp. I'll be honest with you. It kind of deaded it out on what the hell all this fucking Colin Kaepernick stuff happened. And it's good that I'm just saying I'm not watching it. I'm sure there's some that are watching and don't care. But I'm just, like you were saying, you were talking about but baseball fatigue. I was talking about the football protest, why we should or shouldn't kneel fatigue. I'm done. You know what I mean? So, hey, what's up, Amanda?
Well, I know, and you're going to see a change in the football. Next year is probably going to be a little more polarizing than it was the beginning of this year. As you know, beginning of this year, there's a lot of kneeling. Then it kind of tapered off at the end, with some teams saying they're going to back. They're going to pay all the penalties and stuff for people who want to protest. And then, you're going to have teams that are going to be like, y'all just, follow the rules and everything. So it's going to be an interesting beginning of the year. Some more notable things. The Patriots quarterback Tom Brady has said that he sees retirement getting closer. Yes, the madman, the greatest of the arguably greatest of all time as quarterbacks. I mean, he certainly has the rings to back it up and the records to back it up. Still hasn't beat the Giants in the Super Bowl percent.
I was about to say.
I'm just
saying. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Nothing
wrong with that. I agree. I'm agreeing with you.
But Tom Brady is seeing retirement getting closer. He has been reported saying that he wants to play football as long as he can. But I see that he's going to have to give it up sooner or later. Possibly, my prediction would be in the next 2 years. Who knows, if they have a really bad season next year, he might just call it quits. Or if they have a deep run in the playoffs, he might, end on a high note. I actually was surprised that, after the loss, he didn't retire. But, it is Tom Brady. And, as long as they keep putting great offensive linemen around him, gives him all the time in the world, he barely gets hit. So, he's still got the body to do it. A lot of people are, who showed up to minicamp, who didn't. There's a lot of people still trying to get their contracts in order. One of them being Yankees' Odell Beckham, but he's been doing the big thing is, should the Giants break the bank for OJB, which could make him one of the biggest contracts in the NFL for a wide receiver, or try to trade him away. I hope they keep him, but we'll see what happens. Outside of that, if you've been watching the CBL, the Canadian CFL, the Canadian Football League, they got a Canadian Football League, and I've actually been seeing it on TV, which is weird. Like, shows have been dropping too many after the Roseanne show was dropped. And all these shows got canceled. They're like, oh shit, we need to fill this Canadian Football League.
Are they really putting Canadian football team and stuff in there?
Yeah, they've actually has this CFL in there. You see a lot of players that just either can't came up through the draft and just didn't really make it, or some of the kind of the over top, they have gone to the CFL. Honestly, it's kind of boring. But they're looking at the future. They already have a power ranking, so I'll give you the top 10. Philadelphia Eagles are still they got the number one ranked post free agent ranking. And they had 13-3 record last year. And New England Patriots about him number 2, Pittsburgh Steelers number 3, New Orleans Saints at number 4, Minnesota Vikings number 5. They actually dropped down from the number 3 ranking before post free agency ranking. Los Angeles Rams, who they're kind of like they were the Cinderella team of last year, and I kind of besides my Giants. I kind of hope that Los Angeles Rams can make it happen, because they got a great team over there. They got a really young. I love their head coach. They're awesome. So hope the best for the Los Angeles Rams, unless you come get
Ari, were you being sarcastic when you said, to be objective, that the people in privileged positions have the responsibilities to add to their voice to issues? I mean, do you think that's legit? Or you have the Al's argument where he says they should just do their jobs and start trying to cause problems when people just want to watch a game. Are we seeing it that way? Is that more of a gladiatorial type thing? And are we seeing that as a freaking, an argument of, because then what draws the line on who is privileged in that position to who is privileged that is a different position?
Well, it's weird. I think about being a government employee. You have the Hatch Act, which means that I can't make political stands or anything like that. I can't really do that kind of stuff, and it's part of the job. But that's part of being a government employee. Before the the NBA has you have to stand everything, and everyone kind of left that alone. But the NFL, they didn't have a policy. You could do what you wanted to. The teams kind of, decided what they want, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they kept everyone in except the one player who then was ostracized because they just like, hey, no one's going to kneel. Let's just all stand out, stay in. Then you have like lots of teams kneeling. Now the NFL has actually pushed through this is the rule. The rules are the rules. This is everyone's like, oh, it's freedom of speech. Yes, but this is a company. The NFL is a company. The NFL has rules as long as they don't break certain things, like the harsh environment. Well, you're playing football, but other than some major rules. If the rule is do not hit a quarterback and after he's thrown the ball, that's a rule. If the rule is you have to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem, sorry, politics aside, because I was okay with it. If you want to take a kneel to protest, I'm okay with that. I didn't see that personally. I didn't see that as a slight against soldiers. I saw that as it's a way to silently protest without creating, well, I would think without creating too much, like, running out on the field with a big sign or on national television going fuck Trump or something. But I saw that kneeling as this was their foreign protest, not gonna play football. Now the NFL said you can't do that. Sorry, the rules are the rules. If you don't like that, there's the penalties for you, and just like in the game of football, there are penalties for actions that you're not supposed to do.
But
you
it was
try
the
to cut
country.
somebody's head off.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't the country. The national anthem represents the country, and it wasn't the country that was the one that was supporting it. Everybody knows that fucking police brutality is an issue. Everybody knows that there is obviously a difference in both sides of the race issue when it comes to who is getting beat up more by cops and who's not getting more beat up by cops, or who's getting shot more by cops, or who's not getting shot more by cops. But it's not the country's fault. In other words, the country as a whole is not there to be, should not, I guess you would say, be punished for it.
No, that's true. But when else? Because football players don't have extra time.
Exactly.
They're playing. There's no time for them to actually do their protest.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately,
So-
the national anthem just was the.
just
This
one
is
of
the
those
only
things-
time we're on the field and we're not doing anything other than standing for the pledge. The national. I keep saying pledge.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
national anthem.
and Ari's got a good point. This is where sometimes righteousness from the veteran community backfires. Not everybody thinks the same way a veteran does, because it was Nate Boyer that told him that he'd go ahead and just kneel.
Yeah, he told Kaepernick, go for it.
Go for it, kneel, and go for it. So it went too far to the point to where now it was. That's why sometimes when we as the veteran community provides you news, entertainment, and opinion and commentary, that's exactly what it is. I'm not saying that it's good or bad. I'm just telling you what flash.
We're giving our individual opinions.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm not going to sit there and say that now I want the army, because in the end effect, yeah, albeit that I'm on the fucking mic a lot and then I'm talking shit and all this other stuff, I'm still a soldier in the U.S. Army, and I'm still going to exercise the duties that I have to do Army shit, and I'm Armying, and so I have to do that. I have to. So there is no, I cannot, part of customs and courtesy, refuse to salute an officer. However, an officer must return a salute when I salute him. Just like I have to stand at the position of attention and render a salute when the national anthem is playing. Those are customs and traditions that are expected of me for the line of work that I'm doing. The same thing with the NFL. It was a custom and tradition in the line of work that they are doing. That's it.
Well, you know what the best part about this whole thing was?
All they had to do was just fucking stand anyways. None of them actually, since everyone brought a big deal about it, some of them really had their hands on their heart. Some of them had their hands on their helmet. Some of them looked around the stands. Some of them really didn't do it, but when it was a blatant, it was almost like the rule of tradition when you speak to an elder was disrespected. That's the way I saw it. So do you sit, like when an elder walks up to you, you stand up as a man and you extend your hand up and you shake hands with the elder when you meet them, right? You don't sit
Of
there,
course.
you don't kneel.
That's how I was raised. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing about this is that, the fans the fans that are upset and are still upset that the players did that. They did, a lot of people, the big thing was, hey, if you don't like it, they were like, boycott the NFL. Well, what ended up happening, and which probably pushed the NFL to do this rule, like a lot of people are thinking that, Trump was a big influence. No, what the big influence was the green dollar bills, because the NFL actually had lost the most money in one season, last season, than they have in since the first strike or whatnot. They lost a lot of money because a lot of people stopped buying tickets. A lot of people stopped watching, so they started losing out on sponsorships. So while I believe if you have the right to protest, you have a right to free speech and all that stuff, and football fans have the right to not watch or participate or buy NFL products if they do not like what they're seeing.
Correct.
And that's exactly what happened.
Correct.
So it works. To me, it feels like it works both ways.
Correct.
The
Correct.
NFL players did it to protest police brutality.
And it was highlighted as and I agree with you, it was highlighted as an aspect of their freedom of speech.
So what ended up happening was they freedom to pay. If baseball started just getting crazy, their saying horrible things about vets or whatever. They, it'd take a lot for me.
Baseball
to hate
had one incident and it was squashed.
They had one catcher and he's on a AAA team right now.
Exactly. He was Oakland A's. He was squashed.
Baseball went no.
You ain't pulling this shit, and that was
it. But like you have the right to protest. A lot of the fans that did not like it, they did their own protest. They did not put money into the NFL one way or another, and the NFL felt it. So, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't, all they do is, when people think all I can do is bitch on Facebook how I don't like this or this, that, and the other. No, see, you have options, and the NFL felt the pain of losing money, and that had big ripple effects. That's why the power of money right now, to me, the power of money coming from these fans, because already watching a football game in a stadium is so damn expensive. I can go to a couple baseball games and have pretty good seats before I can afford to have horrible seats in an NFL game. And that's one of the things going on too. But they were able to leverage, fine, you guys, the NFL is going to allow this, which we don't agree with for whatever reason or another. You're not going to get our dollars. The NFL felt that. And now the players are, your freedom, you have the freedom of speech, but like a lot of people forget, you don't have freedom of consequence. Unfortunately, the consequence was the NFL felt the pressure and they decided to put down the rule. You must stand for the national anthem or the team's going to be charged X amount of dollars. So with everything, you get what you receive. So, however you feel, both as far as I can see, everyone got what they were trying to do. They got the protest, and then the fans got the protest, and we saw who won. Going back to real quick, Jacksonville Jaguars are number 7 in the power rankings. The Atlanta Falcons number 8, Green Bay Packers number 9, and number 10 the Kansas City Chiefs going into next season. So we'll start to feel more, especially in August when we actually start getting into preseason games. Looking forward to that. And that's it for Flash's Sports Page. I'll tell you what, I love football, but I know people are tired of watching baseball. You can ask my wife. I watch if the Yankees are on and not a blackout or restricted game. I am watching. I am watching it one way or another. But hey, don't forget, you can if you like this show or any of the other shows that we've done, you can find us on iTunes. You can also go to WTFNationRadio.com. Check us out there. You can download the podcast. Don't forget, we're also looking for new team members. We're looking for new on-air hosts. We're looking for admin professionals to join Mom and Spanky. We're also looking for a new video editor / creative content person. So if you're especially if you're a former 4-6 Romeo,
or 25 Victor.
Or 25 Victor, because some of y'all actually do some really good work.
Yeah, actually do some kind.
But we're looking for some really creative people to join our creative department.
We want some social media weenies too. We want people to.
We're looking for everyone. So if you want to be a part of the WTF Nation radio team,
fucking Ranger School Radio and shit.
Go to the website. Go to join our team.
The Space Force of Radio.
Space Forces Radio. Yeah, when we put the radio station on the moon.
That's right.
So be a part of the team. Go up there, fill out the application completely. Don't half-ass it because we will throw your application in the digital garbage can. But don't forget, we're on Mixer, Instagram, the TuneIn app, Periscope, Twitter, and Facebook. And I think I got them all at WTF Nation Radio. So make sure to check us out, like us, share us, tell your friends, tell your space friends too, because hey, we're coming.
Pretty much, if it has a .com, it's got you can add a / WTFNR. I mean, it's easy. It's really easy. So what we got going on this week? We got some more guests coming up, right? We got some. Don't we have some more? Don't we have some drama for your mama for our cut sheets for some guests today?
Yeah, we have. Let's see, who's our next one? Let's see. Our next guest is actually next week. We have Rob O'Neill. From the Facebook page Bay Pines Exposed.
Yes.
He's a retired employee from the Bay Pines VA. He'll be on to talk about the mistreatment of veterans in the Bay Pines VA. That VA has been in the local and national news several times for their neglect and mistreatment of veterans. Some of these stories range from dead veterans who were stored in showers instead of being transported to the morgue, to veterans going without heat in the VA buildings that they were seeking treatment in. Rob will be giving us the inside scoop on these stories on Tied Up Tuesday with Minx and Gray Cloud. So definitely check that out. Unfortunately, we lost our guests for next week, but they had to cancel for really good reasons. So we wish them the best of luck in their endeavors. But don't forget, on Wednesday, we have our Donza Day. No one will be on, but we'll have some great content, especially since we're pumping out stuff for the Veterans Report, one of our favorite friends, and also War Horses for Veterans. On Thursday, we have Sergeant's Time with the great folks that are all angry and drinking way too much whiskey.
Sorry.
Friday Night Freedom with Minx and Pookie. Saturday Savagery with Jay Reddy. And then Sunday, we have to figure something out because unfortunately, the great and powerful cause has had to take a break for a little bit. But don't worry, he'll be back sometime in July.
Yeah, so don't sweat the Sunday shows; it'll come back. So we are trying to get
since
a
you guys
temporary
love
fix.
it so much.
Yeah, you guys really, that's actually
some of the best numbers have been coming on Sunday.
Exactly. Yeah, have been. I don't know. Maybe it's that old effect.
Some old man fetish people.
Yeah, it is. It's that old effect. So.
but don't worry. Sunday show is going to be out for a little bit, but then we'll be back in a couple of weeks once Cause gets himself squared away. He'll be back with some vengeance, and then we'll be back to our normal program. But don't forget, if you want to be a part of the WTF Nation Radio team, go to our website, WTFNationRadio.com, fill out the application, admin professionals, on-air host, social media. We're expanding the team. Since we're expanding to space, we're expanding our team.
We're trying to expand.
Join us, WTF Nation Space Force.
Space.
We're making it happen. We're going to start now.
WTF front. Wow.
It's going to be big.
WTF Galaxy Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
We might have to change it for that.
You might have to change our file. We have to change that. Hey, so the Bay Pie thing's tomorrow.
It's going to be cool.
It wasn't next week. It's tomorrow.
Bay Pines is next. That's tomorrow.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways. So, guys, thank you for coming on. Kelly Kennedy, thank you for coming on as well. Yeah, God, badass. So make sure you guys check out the podcast and all that, and thank you all in the chat for keeping the conversation going.
You guys are awesome.
Love you guys are awesome. We always got the regulars in there shooting the breeze and all that. So y'all have a good one, and shots.
Space shots.
Space Force shots.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Now, having said all this, why aren't I 50 points ahead, Mike? Let's go! We gotta go now! Hurry! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
You are fake news.
Media outlets like CNN and MSNBC are fake.